Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Happy Thursday, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Good morning to all of you beautiful people out there. It's great to be here with you this morning. In a fairly decent mood. Didn't sleep much. Got up at 2, which sucks. I've been up for 4 hours already. This is brutal. It's a brutal gig when your brain doesn't turn off and you don't get a good night's sleep. So I'll be a little bit punchy today, I'm sure. I'm Woodsy, by the way. To my right is Paul Reindl, the executive producer, imaging director of the program and the station. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm all right. I wouldn't say I'm punchy, but I get a couple of things that are just gnawing at me. We don't have to get into it now.
You can't bring up a couple of things that are gnawing at you and not talk about them. Does it have to do, let's play 20 questions.
Oh, okay.
All right. Is it work-related?
No.
Oh. Never mind then. I assumed it was...
I didn't tell you about this yesterday.
Oh, God, what happened? Now I'm nervous.
I'm scared.
Now I'm scared to death. He does this to me. I love it.
So
Surprise
remember back in November, the morning that I was late because I had to take my son to the emergency room.
Yeah, of course.
And fortunately, he was fine.
Yep.
We went in like at 1:30 a.m. He was just had really bad abdominal pain.
Yeah.
And took him to the hospital, and doctors and nurses were great. Gave him some pain meds, gave him a CT scan, didn't find anything.
Yeah.
And, about 4 or 5 hours later, he started feeling better, and we left around 6:30. Got the bill for that yesterday.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Shall we play?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Shall
Higher
we
or
play
lower?
Higher or lower?
All right. Let's see. You got a one night.
5 hours.
5
no,
hours.
no meals. Never got to a room.
Right.
Anything. We were just admitted into the emergency room for observation. And again, great coverage. They had an IV with some fluids and some pain meds.
Right.
And they gave him a CT scan.
All right, Paulie, you set the number, and I'll go higher or lower.
All right, so I actually was not here when this happened. How long was he in?
He was
5
about
hours.
5 hours.
5 hours.
Yeah. We got Hannah says 3,500.
Well,
Let's do
she'd
before
know from
Let's do
experience.
before insurance.
Okay, I was going to say...
Pre-insurance.
I was going to say $30,000.
Yeah, I'll go higher than that.
All right. No, it was about $24,000
Good
for
God.
5 hours in the emergency room. Now, after insurance and everything, I think I owe around $4,000 to $5,000 for that.
Oh, my God.
Which, and I think we have pretty good insurance
Yeah.
that I've had for many years, but it's kind of nuts. And I don't want to complain. The doctors and nurses were great. What else are you going to do? He's in agony. You're scared. You drive him in. We didn't even use an ambulance. I drove him in myself.
You were
so
the
that's
ambulance.
That's not part of it. And I spent a little time on the phone. I'm not Mr. Call and complain about everything, but I looked through the bill going, other $5,000. Other what? Other what?
Mr. Higgins, listen. It's
$5,000.
Hi.
Do you know who I am?
Mr. Higgins, thanks for calling. It's just other stuff is what that is. So, do you have any other questions?
I'm not the first person to complain about the cost of healthcare in this country, but
Holy
the other thing
smokes.
is, it's not like a restaurant where they give you a menu and you see the prices. You know what? I'll pass on
You
the
can't.
other.
They do it at the vet. You can't do it for your child.
I'll pass on the other today. Thank you very much.
Holy cow, man.
What if all of a sudden, the Odyssey app just sent you a bill for $40,000 for listening to Ben and Woods without even telling you?
$10,000 for other.
Other. Jeez, dude. Yeah, it's one of those things where, it happens to me, too, where, life's going pretty good. Things are going pretty well. And you're happy, relationships going well. The kids are being pretty good. The show's going well. You're like, all right. You look outside. It's beautiful. Yesterday was one of those days, man. I went to the gym, got my teeth kicked in again by that demon, Brent. And I was walking out and I went, I feel good. I just pushed myself farther than I pushed myself in a long time. I feel good. Life is good. I drove home, picked my kid up, took him to football practice. It was great. Came home, I had dinner ready. I was like, this is a good day. But you put a few of those together, and then you're like, what's out there? What's lurking? What's impending? Am I going to get a flat tire? Is my engine going to explode? It always happens. Just when things start going really well, something comes along just to kind of kick you in the nuts. And again, look, it's not the end of the world. You're healthy. Your child's healthy. If the doctors told you, Ben, you need to pay $4,000 to make sure your child's healthy, you stroke the check,
Of course,
right?
yeah.
It just sucks. Like it just ruins your whole day when you go to the mailbox. You go, what is this? Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! It's just
really
nothing
a bad
worse.
feeling.
It's a
It's
terrible
just like a
feeling.
punch
dude.
to the stomach.
It's a terrible
$25,000
feeling.
for 5 hours.
And I talked to the woman about the billing to get some itemization. She said, I've seen $100,000 for less than a day in the emergency room.
That doesn't make me feel better.
It actually did make me feel a little bit better. Well, I felt like, okay, I guess I got to steal. I got out of there for only $24,000.
it does
That
feel
is
like
terrible.
until you experience it, you don't fully realize the crisis America is facing with healthcare.
Yeah, it's tough, dude.
6 years ago, I was in the hospital for 3 days with gallbladder surgery. When I got that bill, like a week later, it got mailed to me. It was a padded envelope, like a full packet of papers.
You just, like you got admitted to college.
And I go, oh
this is
boy.
bad,
And I'm
dude.
like flipping through, page 24, trying to find the total. It was like $84,000.
Mama,
And thank
I
God,
mean, at least you were in there overnight. They gave you meals, you had
Sure.
surgery,
I
and everything.
we went to his hotel
Literally.
suite. It was like the
They-
Four Seasons.
Literally, they never found out what was wrong. They just gave him some pain meds. And again, he felt better.
God.
And they did a scan to see if they could figure out what was wrong.
Yeah, I can't remember what mine was for my kidney stone. That was the worst night ever. Driving myself in with kidney stone pain and sitting there rotting for 4 hours. Man, yeah, it's like Steve says, strung together a couple pleasant days. How nice. Uh-oh. Yeah, 100%. You hit a curb, your tire explodes, whatever it may be. Just it's in the grand scheme, it's a minor inconvenience, right? But it also is just like, here we go.
I see, for your point from yesterday, Jamie in the chat goes, Ben, that sucks.
Ben, that sucks.
Thanks. I
Yeah,
appreciate
I
that.
definitely,
Yeah.
I sympathize.
I enjoy the sympathy. Thank you.
Well, actually, healthcare is expensive.
These guys do go to school for a long time.
Paulie, I don't need it right now.
It's not on the hospital to tell you what other
I don't
stands
need
for.
any rational or reasonable arguments right now.
We should have just gotten him. We should have
I
hit
just
him
want
with
a little
we
sympathy.
We should have hit him with the. Well, I mean, I don't know. Is he feeling better? Yeah, okay, it's worth it.
Bag of saline solution ain't free.
That's true.
But it really is technically just salt
water. Yeah, man. I'm sorry. That's a bummer, dude.
Thousands of dollars of salt water.
It's just a total cluster. It really is. It really is. Sorry about that. I can see why that would eat at you because it's just never those days are just never fun.
Why? Because I'm somewhat frugal, and that's
Well, I mean, it's like, yeah, you don't really nobody really is like, oh, hell yeah, $4,500 doctor bill. Hell yeah, I'm rich. I can afford this. No, hell no. So when you called, did they lower it for you at all? Okay.
No. They tried to tell me how lucky I was that
You
it was
are
only
so lucky.
$24,000. Yeah,
So you're gonna just rip it off in installments?
already did. No,
Yeah.
I
just paid it.
I just paid it.
Oh.
Easy.
Whoa! Money bags
I was
over
not
here.
familiar with your
They
name.
didn't offer a payment plan.
They didn't?
No, they just said you owe it. I didn't want the collection agency to start coming after me. So
Have you ever had a collection agency?
I
after
hope
you?
not.
Man,
Have you?
I lived that way it's just weird. I think about how I used to be. I mean, there was a period in my life, I think we talked about it before. There was a period in my life, Ben, of about 5 to 6 years in my early 30s. I mean, I had pending cases hanging over my head. I was on probation all the time. There was always something. There was credit card bills that I was in collections. To see the turnaround, I know I'm nowhere close to perfect. I'm not a good saver. I'm not great with money. But I don't get in trouble anymore, and I don't have attorney's fees and stuff like that. I look back at those days and go, God, how did I even get through it? But yeah, man, it's never a fun thing. It's never a fun thing. I'm really sorry. That is a bummer.
Thank you for the sympathy.
Yeah.
I do appreciate.
You're
that.
welcome. Yeah, that Hannah says pre-Hannah. 100%, man. 100%. Our 11-year anniversary is coming up next week. 11 years since the day we met. And it's true. It's true. You want to talk about somebody whipping your ass into shape. That's what my lady has done for me. No question about it. I'm a completely different person than I was 12 years ago.
She runs a tight ship.
Does she ever?
Yeah.
Does she ever? And Yeah, I can't live that way anymore. I hope my kids never live that way, right? Like, never get in trouble, never have to worry about all the stuff that I did and did wrong. It's just not a good way to live. It was just, that's why I'm like so filled with anxiety, I think, because I lived 365 days a year in full panic mode for 5-6 years of like, oh God, I got to complete these hours, or I got to pay this guy, I got to get out of this trouble.
I'd say a lot of my life is devoted to trying to avoid that sort of anxiety.
Yeah, 100%.
I just don't want, I've never wanted it, so I want to take care of as much as I can.
Yeah, 100%.
But things still pop up, no matter how prepared you are.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, you think you're dialed in, you got a little money in the bank, whatever, and somebody comes along and just goes, wham!
Things pop up.
Give me $4,000. Oh, it's such a bummer.
Speaking of your kids, I hear you got hijacked in the way that many parents get hijacked nowadays. We can talk about that.
Yeah, I'm
coming up.
I'm fairly excited about it, but I do feel like maybe I have bitten off a little bit more than I can chew, but we'll see. We'll see. You guys will all be along for the ride, I'm sure.
All right, we will check traffic with Kelly. We'll come back. We'll hear from Woods and set the menu for the show today. A Thursday, a throwback Thursday. Looking forward to it. Stephen Woods, Paul Reindl. I'm Ben Higgins. Tier 1s always appreciate you. Thanks for joining us here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Bit of a mixed reaction to the departure of Ha-seong Kim yesterday. We will talk about that coming up. Some Padres trade rumors as well. Throwback Thursday will take you back 3 years to, I know, a moment that Woods really appreciates.
I
Me,
love
not
this
quite
one.
as much, but
I wonder why.
Woods definitely does.
So Paulie at his finest, honestly.
It was,
It was Paulie at his finest.
Got some real or fake for you, of course. Plenty of contesting as well still going on. Don't forget to download the Odyssey app and listen to 97.3 The Fan on the app for your chance to win the ultimate trip in the Slam Dunk in Vegas contest. All you have to do, download the Odyssey app, log in, and listen to this station for at least 1 hour to earn your daily entry into our national contest. The grand prize is travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Las Vegas, plus $5,000 for each person, so $20,000 total, to fund the ultimate viewing experience for the first 2 rounds of the college basketball championship tournament. We've also got Biggest Fan and some Tom Arnold tickets to give away, which I think we're going to do momentarily, and Aztecs tickets for Saturday's game at Wyoming. We're a veritable slot machine of prizes to be given out today. But as I mentioned...
bribes. Like we just bribe you to listen. That's what it is. Let's
just
call
direct,
it what it is.
Yeah, it's just
direct bribery.
Just absolutely hoping that you listen to win free stuff.
Yeah, it's not a secret. I hope it's not. People out there listening going, oh, so that's why you guys give away tickets to stuff. Yeah, we want you to listen.
So you were telling me before the show that you got hijacked, as many parents
kind of. I'm actually excited about the hijacking a little bit. I'm trying to have a positive attitude about it.
I know it's something that a lot of parents both love and dread.
Yeah.
I never got to do it.
You never got to do it?
I always worked, 3 o'clock to 11 o'clock weekdays when my kids were growing up. So all the after-school stuff, Shelley had to take them and do all of that. But your afternoons are a little more free.
Yeah, they're very free. So what happens is that when your afternoons are free, you do get voluntold to do a lot of things. And I think a lot of parents listening right now realize, okay, we're almost into February, which means youth baseball is starting up, and it's starting up soon. Your leagues are getting the teams together. They're trying their best to piece together all the kids you want on the team, the parents that you know, et cetera, et cetera. So I had originally, look, it's getting harder and harder by the day to coach my almost 7-year-old. He doesn't like me on the field. He loves me. He loves me, can't live without me. On the field.
What's his issue with the actual dad coaching then?
We tried to have a talk about that last night. He still won't really say what it is. As far as like he's listened to me for 6 years pretty much, and then lately it's like I don't want to. Anybody else can get the best out of him.
Do you embarrass him in front of his friends?
No, God, never. I honestly, and I think
Not
about it.
Intentionally,
No. I mean, I might break his balls, but I break everybody's balls.
Right.
Like, that's just what I do. That's who I am. And, so I had originally considered, all right, maybe I'll assistant coach for Bo's team and just be there to hit grounders and root the guys on. I love being around it. I love it. I'm not going to be the dad ever that can sit in the stands and watch somebody else coach my kids. I just can't. I love to do it. And so I was originally going to just assistant coach, whatever, and coach Taylor's T-ball team because I'm pretty good at that. I can handle it. I can teach that very
understand the strategies and intricacies involved in T-ball.
Very elementary level of baseball. I know how to put a practice together, et cetera. But got the email yesterday. There was me and 3 other dads on this email, and it said, hey, nobody actually said who the head coach was, so you guys got to let me know who it is. Immediately, all the other dads, hey, I'm happy to help, but I work to this time. Oh, bro, same. Would love to help out when I can. Oh, me too. I work till 5:30. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. So I told Bo last night, I go,
oddly, this is how the Padres are picking a left fielder for this season as well.
I can do it. I got it. So I told him, I was like, all right, I'll do it. And we had to talk last night. I go, hey, man, I'm going to be your coach. Just so you know, going to be your head coach. And I need you to, be a leader on that team. You are a leader. Just act like that. So I'm going to be the head coach of his team, the head coach of Taylor's T-ball team, and then I'm running the Tier 1 team, and we play on Sundays. It's a lot. Like I've bitten off, I think, a little bit more than I can chew, but I'm looking forward to the challenge. But I was dying. They gave us the name of the team for Bo, and it's the Woodpeckers. And I told him,
really?
Yes.
I don't think I've ever heard that.
Fayetteville, it's a minor league. It's the Fayetteville Woodpeckers.
Okay, so there's a minor league
component,
baseball team that's known as the Woodpeckers.
So he's been the Tin Caps, the Bats, the Durham Bulls, and now he's the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. And so I told him, he immediately started laughing. He's like, the Peckers. And I'm like, yes, Bo, the Peckers.
The Woodspeckers.
The Woodspeckers. So, which is very creepy. But I was thinking about like the hey, everybody bring it in. Here we go. Let's go. Peckers on 3. 1, 2, 3, Peckers! And I'm like, I don't think you can yell that out at a Little League field. I don't think you might get the ire of parents or. Now, I think it's hysterical. But I mean, when I told him, I go, so if this is your reaction at 7, what do you think all his friends are going to think when I'm like, all right, Woodpeckers, let's get it together? They're all going to laugh. They're all super tight, too. Like, I'm worried about.
Paul's found Woodpecker sounds
I love it.
for us.
I'm worried about, them not focusing. But then I remembered, well, they're 7, so who really cares? Let's have some fun with it. Trying to keep myself in that mental state. Like, I know I know that one's going to be wheels off. So I wanted, like, the more serious one with Bo and his friends. But, again, I got to just keep in mind they're 7 years old. I can't go too crazy. So I can get crazy with the tier 1s. Those guys I'll chew out. Paulie's seen it before. But, yeah, it's a lot, man. 3 teams. It's just the busy work of, like, all right, we've got practice this time. All right, tier 1s, I need your fees. I got your jerseys. Like, who's coming this weekend, et cetera, et cetera. It really, really gets you. There's a lot to do.
On a side note, did anyone enjoy the Woody Woodpecker cartoon? I mean, I think back, like I saw it as a kid, and I don't remember ever thinking, oh, yeah, that was definitely one I liked.
So they made a Woody the Woodpecker movie that my kids love.
Really?
So I'm watching it.
With the laugh, the laugh.
Yeah, it's a real movie with real adults. And then they have the cartoon Woody the Woodpecker. Woody Woodpecker. Woody
like Roger
Woodpecker.
Rabbit?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah.
So it was on the other night. 2 nights ago. This is the weird part. The next day we get named the Woodpeckers. There's a dad who got a divorce, and he's got an absolute smoke show young fiance.
This is plot summary.
This is plot summary. From what I could tell in the 10 minutes I watched. He never sees his kid ever, and his kid gets kind of dumped off with him. He's got to take him for a weekend. So I'm watching this children's movie, and the girl in the front seat, the fiance, says, "Ugh, I'm not a big kid person." And then she gets up in the car. They're in like a van. And she goes, "I need a Xanny." And I was like, this is a kid's movie? What are we doing? You need a Xanny. I'm like, this is a Woody Woodpecker movie. Very, very, very odd.
Where does the woodpecker come in?
Well, he comes in, and the kid's getting bullied. So Woody Woodpecker comes and saves him from bullies, and like he pecks these kids and that are bullying him. It's pretty stupid, but my kids love it. They love it. Yeah, it's pretty adult, actually.
Apparently,
yeah. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I gotta get it all together. I'm gonna spend the majority of my day today firing off emails to parents, letting them know I'm not a psychopath. I will yell at your kids, but it will always be positive. I am a yeller. I am legit a yeller, but it's always positive yelling. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian Dutcher said he raised his voice at Miles Bird, but he did it in he thought a constructive way, that he thought Miles would be able to handle it. It's okay to raise your voice occasionally.
I don't even do that. Like, hey, focus. I'm more like, that a boy, let's go. Like, I get fired up. I've never said anything disparaging about a kid, at least not to their face. Maybe behind their backs. Once or twice.
We'll talk about Ha-seong Kim's signing. Probably, not the team everyone was expecting him to go to when he signed yesterday with the Tampa Bay Rays, but we'll talk about his departure coming up. First, tell you about Prize Picks. Big game is coming up, which is a great opportunity, if you haven't experienced daily fantasy sports, to download the Prize Pick app and start playing. Set your lineup now for the big game coming up a week from Sunday, Kansas City versus Philadelphia. All you have to do is combine between 2 and 6 player stat projections, pick more or less, and start winning. You can win up to 1,000 times your money with as few as a 4-player lineup on Prize Picks. A couple of the options for the big game: Jalen Hurts, passing yards 215.5, more or less. Travis Kelce, receiving yards 62.5, more or less. And don't forget to use the free pick, Patrick Mahomes, 0.5 of 1 passing yard. Counts like a regular pick, but obviously a lot easier to win that one. So it's a great way to get started. I get free picks, emails all the time, like protected plays, $10. You can go ahead and set a lineup. If it doesn't win, you get your $10 back. If it wins, you win real money. Just great opportunities every single day with Prize Picks. And when you download the app at their website, prizepicks.com, use the code KWFN. You're going to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. So more free play right there to get you started. $50 instantly when you use code KWFN and set your first $5 lineup at Prize Picks. Run your game. Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for details. Paulie reminded me I teased some Tom Arnold tickets. I will do that now in our 7 o'clock segment until I forget in our 7 o'clock segment, and then we'll push it back somewhere else. But I can't push it back too much because we have Aztecs tickets to give away as well, and all the rest of our contest, our Slam Dunk in Vegas, our biggest fan, as well as Wood said, we're just flat out bribing you now to
Let's
listen
just do
to
it now.
97.3 The Fan.
No?
Because now Paulie needs to be, locked in with us in this segment.
Got it.
And
Don't
if
want
I-
to be taking a phone call.
And if I throw out a contest,
Got
he
it.
has to
Yeah.
answer a bunch of phone calls.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So I wait until usually the end of segments to
So
do
don't forget it here.
I'm going to try to do it at 7:12.
Got it.
That's the time now for the Tom Arnold tickets. All right, let's jump in and talk a little Ha-seong Kim. A very mixed reaction is fair from Padres fans about the departure. Ha-seong Kim played 4 seasons in San Diego and clearly became a fan favorite, a clubhouse favorite, Manny Machado's bestie on the left side of the infield. And in one of those 4 seasons, 2023, Ha-seong Kim had an outstanding year.
Yep.
I think finished, 14th in the MVP voting.
Yep.
Was a Gold Glove utility Gold Glove winner. Hit for some power.
Yeah, 17 bombs.
Was just an all-around outstanding player in 2023.
60 RBI, 38 steals, OPS of 749. Yeah, man, that's a good season.
And based on pretty much that one season, because the other 3 seasons were somewhere between, fine and okay.
Yeah, I mean, look, when he got here, it was, first of all, I remember the day they signed him. We were together on the show, and we all went, huh? Who? How much? Holy God, what is happening, right?
What was it, like 4 years, 28?
Yeah, and we were just blown away. We'd never heard of him. And again, credit to A.J. Preller and his scouts and combing the ends of the earth for good players. And they brought him in, and as soon as you watched him play, you went, my God, what a slick glove, what a fierce competitor. Going to need some work on catching up to the big league fastball, which is not uncommon for players from the KBO, not even a little bit. So fine, you give him a little bit of a leeway there.
In that first season, he struggled against the fastball.
Yep.
He got a little bit better as the year went on.
Yeah.
And then the next season was a little better, then a great season. And then last season kind of took a step back, had the injury, obviously, at the end in August that ended his year, but had committed some weird, errors early in the season, just seemed a little off
Just was
for the
off.
first couple of months.
He was off. He had some wild base running issues. But again, like if you got little kids and you say, hey man, watch how that guy plays. Watch how he plays 162 games. That dude never took a playoff. Honestly, I mean, I could sit here and say that right now. Like, I never saw him Cadillac it. I never saw him. He tried to get the most out of the talent that he had every time he was on the field. Not too many players you can say that about these days. Honestly, I mean, he was great. He was great. I really enjoyed watching Ha-seong Kim when he was at his best. He also drove me crazy at times, but that's not uncommon for a lot of players. I love Manny Machado like he's my son. But he drives me crazy sometimes. Maybe lay off a slider sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, it's just comes with the territory. But the way, like, I will always remember Ha-seong Kim very fondly as a San Diego Padres fan.
I think that's fair. Some people thought, though, had he been healthy, that Ha-seong Kim could have commanded a 9-figure salary. So that injury that he suffered diving back to first base,
So brutal,
was pretty costly in terms of finances. He didn't really seem to have a lot of options. After the Giants signed Willy Adames, they had been, speculated as the leading candidate. His best friend, Young Ho Lee, was out in center field. They thought, okay, he's probably going to go there. Then they signed Adames. They didn't need another shortstop and infielder, and there wasn't a huge market out there. Probably because no one saw the Tampa Bay Rays stepping in with what they eventually agreed on, which is a 2-year, $29 million contract. He can opt out after the first season. Now, will he have a good first season? He's not expected back until probably around May
yeah.
as he recovers from the surgery. But if he does have a great season, then he can hit free agency again and, try his luck, for 2026. If not, he gets a second year in Tampa to show that he's healthy and then go to free agency in 2027. But $29 million is great. It's more than he got in 4 years with the Padres, but it's not a 9-figure deal that some people were speculating on. As for the Tampa Bay Rays, as shocking as it was, Paulie sent the text, wow, no one saw that coming.
No.
And I agree. I wasn't thinking about it. Does kind of make some sense, replacing Wander Franco, needing a shortstop, and, trying to create some sort of value for a team that's going to be playing in a spring training facility all season long because of their ballpark damage from the hurricane. It's, I think, a fairly savvy ad. Well, they're a defensive-oriented team.
They're a savvy team. They're not going to, it's the worst, but they finally decide to extend and spend big money on a player, and it's Wander Franco, who's just dating 14-year-olds. So, yeah, they're like, you can see why they'd be a little gun-shy moving forward, but is it more money than I thought Ha-seong Kim was going to get with a banged-up shoulder? Yeah, of course it is. You got people out here going, he's probably going to end up signing for the minimum somewhere. No, it doesn't work that way.
Now 4 years under your belt.
Right, exactly. It just does not work that way.
At that price, though, I have no problem with the Padres saying,
Same.
Best of luck, so long. That did not make sense.
Honestly, that was refreshing to me as a Padres fan, that it just feels like time and time again, certainly you could think of several examples where instead of just shaking a guy's hand, riding out the rest of the contract, saying, hey, thanks for your time here, we wish you nothing but the best, good luck in free agency.
Yeah.
We haven't seen a ton of that. It's always been, here's a 6-year contract, here's a 5-year extension, here's another 7 years.
I think they've handed out so many of those too that the Padres probably should be a little bit more willing to let guys go. We have been without Ha-seong Kim so long on the Padres. I didn't forget about him, but there was not even a shred of me that thought he would come back here. I really didn't think they were going to spend the money on him.
There was the talk that, if he signed a lower deal to rebuild his value, the Padres might be a spot that would make sense for him, but not at 2 years and $29 million.
I don't think we have it. B, I don't think we should spend $229 on Ha-seong Kim right now, but I'll miss him, dude. My kids loved him. I think a lot of kids loved him. He was a beloved figure here. And he just seems like a really, really good dude, man. A really, really good guy. A guy, when you think about what he brings to the clubhouse, along with a guy like Jurickson Profar, you've lost a lot of heart from your baseball team.
That's right on the back of a baseball
That's right. You've lost a lot of heart.
This week, you've lost a lot of heart in Profar and Kim.
Oh, dude, we're not going to have any Korean calls anymore. Oh, well, we can pull them from Tampa Bay. We absolutely can find them and pull them from Tampa Bay and still.
Trust me, Ha-seong Kim hits a walk-off for the Rays at some
random
point in June. We'll play those.
So you mentioned the Franco deal and why the Rays might be, hesitant to give out big contracts. They don't, though, for non-Rays. This is the biggest free agent contract for a player that wasn't already on their team that the Rays have given out since Greg Vaughn in 1999, who was also a Padre leaving San Diego after he was on the 1998 team. He got 4 years, $33 million. This is the biggest contract they've given out since then. A quarter of a century of escalating baseball salaries, and they have just stayed completely out of the mix. And this is obviously around baseball. It's going to be a, shoulder shrug, $29 million, whatever. That's not a mega deal. But for the Rays to go outside of their own system to give a contract like this is a mega deal for the Rays. And that's why it did raise some eyebrows around Major League Baseball yesterday.
Yeah, Satan's Blowfish, I remember this. He says supposedly the other big offer that they did make in the last few years was to Freddie Freeman. I don't know if he ever confirmed that, though. That would
we heard those rumors for sure. But, being the, finishing second, Toronto Blue Jays in your offers is not worth anything at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, Kimmy was great. We had a lot of fun, watching him play, talking about him. Certainly made some spectacular plays defensively. Won a Gold Glove here. I'm bummed to see him go. But it doesn't break me.
All right, let's a favorite Ha-seong Kim memory. Think about it. We'll talk about it after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Got a stalled vehicle partially blocking the transition ramp westbound 54 at the southbound 5 connector. In the North County, collision northbound side of the 15 before Bernardo Center. Got a car and a box truck involved in this one. It's over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Paul, you were playing it in the background, but it was cool how Petco Park would chant for Ha-seong Kim, especially in big moments.
Drove some people crazy. And I don't know why, but because I always thought it was cool.
I remember, I think it was his first career Grand Slam. It was off of Ryan Weathers of the Marlins in 2023 when he just Petco Park went nuts when he hit his first career Grand Slam. That was a cool moment.
Carlos says the double against the Dodgers. Dude, that one, I mean, that one down the line. And next thing you know, I mean, we win. I mean, that was such a clutch knock from Ha-seong Kim. So, yeah, it's a bummer. But
charging, the 2-1 pitch, grounded towards third base. It gets by Muncy, and a fair ball down the left field line. Grisham's on his way home. He will score. Nola to third, Kim to second, an RBI double in a one-run game.
Nola, Kim, Gonzo, all gone. Whew. Yeah, he was great. And I wish him the very best in Tampa Bay. It's one of those situations for him where it's like, just going to go in, do my job, try to parlay this 2-year deal. I texted you guys yesterday. It's Tampa Bay. I mean, the chances that he'll be moved. He's got an opt-out after this year. So if he has a good season, he could opt out. I mean, $14 million's a decent amount of change for him. But if he has a great year for them, coming off injury, I don't see it happening necessarily because that's a tough one to come. It's a labrum. Like, we have a right fielder that had this issue. So I don't see him just hitting the scene and ripping 25 homers for them next year. It certainly is possible, but I think he'll be with Tampa Bay for a year and a half, and then I think they'll move him at the deadline when he's healthy in 2027.
That does make a lot of Tampa Bay
it's very
sense.
Tampa Bay-esque. They'll send him to the Dodgers for they're looking for their third World Series championship in a row, and they'll need a shortstop, and he'll be a Dodger before you know
Dodgers have plenty of prospects, too.
100
8 of the top 100.
Tampa Bay loves prospects.
They love Dodgers prospects. They will, I think you can almost book it.
Oh, yeah, Andy, Ha-seong Kim made the final play to complete the Musgrove no-hitter. Yeah, grounder to Kimmy, right?
That's right.
It was so good.
He was at second at the time. No, that's right. Yeah,
it was a short.
Was he a short?
Short,
Yeah, it was a short.
and
Okay.
threw it to
Hosmer.
No, Hosmer
it
was
wasn't
not there.
Hosmer,
It
Profar.
was Profar playing first. So good. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, we were without him so long. I didn't expect him to be back. I saw Dodger fans taking delight in this yesterday. Like, you lost another one. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like a loss to me. Because I never thought he was coming back. Profar felt like a gut punch.
So what do you think? Obviously, this means Xander Bogaerts is the starting shortstop for the Padres, which is what we've kind of figured all along. Some video came out of him working out at short. Mike Schilt said early in the offseason that they wanted to give Xander clarity much earlier in the offseason.
Not the first day of spring training?
Not the first day of spring training.
By the way.
I don't know when he got the clarity, but it seems like he's had that clarity for a little while.
Let's ask the skipper, Mike Schilt, that on Saturday. Saw some video of Xander working out. Does that mean he's your starting shortstop going into the season?
I would
Mike?
think that's fairly obvious at this point. But what happens, Xander's not going to play 162 games at short. As you're looking at the roster right now, when Xander, needs a day or is DHing, is Tyler Wade
maybe Mason McCoy
your shortstop now? Mason McCoy, they did bring him back,
they
right?
did.
But who's your now backup shortstop? Because Ha-seong Kim, made that a very easy managing decision for Mike Schilt. But now you've got a little bit of a this is the lack of depth.
I was just going to say we're not
into play.
We're not the deepest team on the planet. We have good players. We have guys that you're really, really excited to see play. But if one of those guys gets a groin pull and is out for a week with a nagging injury, who's the fill-in?
I think it's Tyler Wade is now your primary backup at shortstop.
Yeah.
And I would imagine is going to get, even if Xander is healthy all year, which we've never really seen.
Right.
I would imagine he's going to get, 30, 40 games at shortstop this year. So, if I'm Tyler Wade, I'm taking a lot of ground balls. I'm I'm planning on that being my main role this season.
I can't stop thinking about the Jose Iglesias thing that was
we talked about it
rumored
yesterday
as well, which he's a pretty versatile guy, that I don't know what he's going to command at all, but had a good year last year. I don't know. I have no idea what they're going to do, but yeah, they don't have a lot of depth on this team right now. They don't have a lot of depth in the outfield. They don't have a lot
Wesley
of
asked, could they try Tatis or Merrill back at shortstop? And
can't, man.
you're so thin in the outfield.
Right.
You need those guys in the outfield. You already have one glaring hole. You can't create another one by moving one of those guys out there. Then you have two spots in the outfield and no one really to fill them.
I promise you this, though. This I know for a fact. Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr. would do a fight to the death for a chance to play shortstop again for the San Diego Padres. That I can promise you. Those guys, if given the opportunity, would love to do it. But hey, like you said, you can't move a guy from center or right to go out and play shortstop for a week because it creates a hole out in the outfield. So you want Brandon Lockridge out and right while Tatis, who has been banged up every year, gets back on the dirt. Hurts himself potentially. Jackson Merrill, who's settled in really nicely into center field. Like, I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It will. The Dodgers are a great organization that do things the right way. Certainly, it will forever baffle me what they're trying to do this season. I guess when you're that deep, you can experiment. But like Mookie Betts should just be their right fielder, and Tommy Edmonds should just be their center fielder, and find a shortstop or whatever. But they're going to move Mookie to short. They're going to roll with it. It's a risk they can afford to take. It's a risk we cannot afford to take.
And I want to be clear. I think Tyler Wade's stock is rising. You saw last year. He's a really well-liked teammate.
They love him there.
And I think they think that he can take at least a smaller step forward.
Offensively, he's not. He's going to get a bunt down for you. He's run the bases really well.
But he made good things happen.
He
a lot,
always did.
Which was cool.
He was always in the middle of something.
I'm happy he's back on the
team. Me too.
team.
I'm very happy.
But this again,
you can't.
This is what happens when you have to cut on the corners a little bit.
Yeah.
And you're watching your budget. You're watching the salary cap, the luxury tax.
Yep.
And you don't have big time major league options if someone goes down, which is, by the way, what most teams operate under. There's the Dodgers. They have two playoff teams. That's the new kind of talking point. Like if you split the Dodgers roster in half and did like a draft,
and 1A,
could you create two playoff teams?
Oh yeah,
like pitcher. All right, here we go. And most people say, they're probably two playoff teams combined into one roster at this point.
It's going to make it all the sweeter if they don't win the World Series. It's just going to make it all the sweeter.
They're going to have some gnarly intramural games in spring training.
Yeah, the 1A against the 1B. Like it's just going to be insane.
Pick captains. All right, we're going to pick sides. We're going to have a draft.
You absolutely could do that. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. When you're 9 deep in the starting rotation, you're pretty good. You're pretty good.
So we'll see if there are any other moves coming for the Padres, any more infield options that Mike Schilt will be able to use. As you said, Jose Iglesias was a name hadn't really thought of or heard of until yesterday. David Schoenfield brought it up.
They're going to ride this thing out, for the next week or so, I would imagine, and just kind of see, the longer that it takes, the more, I don't want to say desperate, but the more amiable to maybe a 1-year prove-it deal some of these guys will be willing to take. And I think that's when A.J. Preller is going to strike. Look, I've said it before. If your entire offseason consists of just buying on the margins, it's not a great offseason. You haven't really completed the big splash, whether it's a trade or free agency. But they're buying on the margins right now. I think they're going to continue to do that to try to plug some holes.
All right, remember to listen at 9 a.m. for us to announce today's biggest fan, a chance to qualify for a night in our Odyssey suite at a future Padres game. Register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest fan in order to potentially have your name called. We'll come back, Throwback Thursday. Ben's stomach noise. Yep.
Yes.
Coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. Definitely one of the hardest parts about being a fan is when your favorite players leave. You know, it's inevitable. And you may have loved Ha-seong Kim. Many people did. You know, get his bobblehead, the helmet falls off.
So
really
good.
cool. Others obviously aren't as devastated by this loss. But there's always that one guy that was on your team and then it gets traded away or signs as a free agent with another team.
Yeah.
And it just it just rips your heart out.
100%.
Just absolutely rips your heart out. You didn't have to live through a ton of that as a Yankees fan growing up.
No, not really. It was the opposite.
Yes, you were the team ripping other teams' hearts out by taking their players.
But then it was, oh, you guys are adding the guys in that I hate the most on the planet. Like Wade Boggs. I had to root for Wade Boggs. I hated Wade Boggs. Jacoby Ellsbury, Kevin Youkilis. I mean, I've done this. The list goes on and on. That's a problem in and of itself. You know, it's a different problem to have, but it's like, oh, cool. You got these dudes that I have. Johnny Damon. I'm like, I loathe that guy, and he's here now. Roger Clemens. That lasted for about 3 minutes until I watched Roger Clemens pitch. I was like, glad you're here. Like, phenomenal. But yeah, Padres fans. We were just talking about it because we didn't get to this yesterday, and before we do the throwback gurgle. I wanted to play this audio for you, and I will preface this by saying I absolutely adore Harold Reynolds. I do. I think he talks out of his ass a lot, and this has now become a yearly MLB Network tradition, where a host, along with a beat writer or reporter like John Morosi, will speculate that the Padres should trade Fernando Tatis Jr. This is a yearly tradition. Nobody wants this kid here in San Diego, at least on a national level. So here's what Harold and John Morosi had to say.
If I'm moving anybody, the pitching is what made the Padres rise to where they're at. Their starting rotation's as good as anybody. They had the bullpen. They put all that stuff together. They pitched. They put them in games. Manny, you can't move that contract.
Nope.
Bogarts, not moving that contract. There's one player that can change the whole direction of this organization, that's Tatis. And I'm putting him on the market to trade. And you know how many teams are going to hop in at that number, at that young player to go get him? And now I keep my pitching. I'll get back something for Tatis, and we will keep this thing rolling. But to go and say I'm getting rid of my pitching, you know how hard it is to find pitching in today's game? I just don't see it.
All right, number one, there's no guarantee that if you traded Fernando Tatis Jr., you're keeping Michael King and Dylan Cease. There's just no guarantee of that at all. Even if you guaranteed me I would keep Michael King and Dylan Cease, I'm not trading Fernando Tatis Jr. I mean, honestly, like, for anybody, like, he is a guy, Ben, that when they gave him a statue contract 5 years ago, it looked insane at the time, and I know he's had his issues, whatever. He is a guy that if you traded would absolutely gut this city, this franchise. Now, are there extenuating circumstances where it's happened? It happens in baseball. It happens in football and basketball. You're watching it with Jimmy Butler right now, who just says, I'm not going to be here, so I'm not going to play. I don't think Fernando would do that and say, you guys got to trade me. But that's the only circumstance where I would even consider it, is if he said, I don't want to play here anymore. I want to go play somewhere else. You have to trade me. That's the only time I would consider it. I wouldn't give that dude up for anything. You saw him in the playoffs last year. He's electric. He is 26 years old. And yeah, like Diesel says, Harold in there saying, you know how hard it is to find pitching? It ain't as hard as finding a Fernando Tatis Jr. I'll tell you that. Like, you can cobble. The Dodgers won the World Series with 2 pitchers. You can cobble pitching together sometimes. You cannot find a guy like him. And when he's healthy, he is an MVP caliber player. His contract is actually pretty reasonable for the way contracts are going now. He owns this fan base. This fan base adores Fernando Tatis Jr. He's a 5-tool player. You don't trade 5-tool players in their prime.
You build around them.
It does feel like, fans would be carrying pitchforks to Petco Park if that did happen. Now, okay, let me put logical.
Oh, no.
I mean,
Contrarian,
is it possible? Contrarian? Is it possible that internally, and I have heard nothing other than Padres love Fernando,
correct,
internally, but the doctors look at him and go, we just don't see him being able to stay healthy over the course of a season. It's the one knock really on Fernando Tatis Jr.
That's actually a risk
For everybody.
Well, it's a risk for everybody, but it's a risk I'm willing to take with him because he's already locked into he's locked into a very reasonable deal as far as superstar players go. So I'm willing to run that risk, Ben. We see it, Mike Trout barely plays anymore. It's a real bummer to see, but I'm willing to take that risk for let's call it even 5-6 more years of prime Fernando Tatis Jr.
All I'm saying is that it might not be a 0% chance.
No, I don't think it's a 0% chance, but I think it is. Don't you find it weird to me though? When I said it's an annual tradition, it's literally an annual tradition. This is a MLB talking point. Like, hey, we haven't brought up the Padres getting rid of their cornerstone player in a while. We should do that now.
Yeah, C313 says they traded Soto. Anything's possible. They didn't have Soto signed and locked up to a long-term deal.
Yeah, if they had,
they were going to lose him for nothing.
Yeah.
At the end of the 2024 season, and they not traded him.
Yeah.
That's a totally different set of circumstances.
Yeah,
I don't believe in untouchable players,
Sure.
untradeable pieces. Everybody, while it may be extremely unlikely, every single player, whether it's your number one prospect, your star player, they're tradable.
Sure.
No, any GM would tell you that privately.
Oh yeah.
But like you said, I don't think it's a 0% chance, but I think it's like
1
or 2%
right.
likelihood of trading Fernando Tatis Jr. I don't see it happening.
Yeah, Fernando's got a no trade through 2028. But again, if he wanted to be traded, he could waive that certainly. And it's just not something I even want to entertain. I mean, I can't imagine what the haul would be back, and you would feel immediately like it's not enough. I expect big things from Fernando, and I think he's grown up a lot. I think he's going to continue to grow. He's still 26 years old, but yeah, I just don't think you move him. And I'm not mad that they do this every year. I'm not. I'm trying to think of other comparable players and I'm wondering, do they do the same to them? I don't know. I just see the Padres clips and I'm biased towards it. But do they do this for other teams, or should the Reds be looking to move Ellie De La Cruz? Should the Orioles be looking to move off of Adley Rushman at this point?
The Brewers.
Jackson Churio.
I mean, he's on a bargain.
Yeah,
for
maybe
how
the
good
best
he
comp
is.
for the Padres would be, and I remember this 1990 when they traded Roberto Alomar. Now, he was only 22 at the time, but he played 3 seasons. Tatis is a little more established, a bigger star than Alomar was at the time, but you knew Alomar was going to be.
Oh, he was a guy.
He was going to be, if not a Hall of Famer, which he was going to be an all-star like all the time. And Padres did get, Tony Fernandez and Joe Carter. They sent Fred McGriff in that deal as well, but that was one
That's
thought
a blockbuster.
Padres would probably regret.
Yeah.
When they even made that deal.
Yeah, you're too young to remember like Ozzie Smith, right?
Yeah, I mean, Ozzie was still fairly young as well when he was traded for Tempe. It's not like they didn't get anything back for him, a guy who helped them win the 1984 pennant. So, but, generational players don't come around very often.
Hence why it's really tough to trade a generational player. So I love Harold Reynolds. I do. I think he's great. I loved him when he was a player. I love him as an analyst, but he says goobery stuff sometimes, and it's probably not even his fault.
It happens every year.
Every single year, this happens.
Whether
every
it's him,
year.
whether it's JT the Brick.
Yeah. You got to trade this guy. Like,
trust me, I'm hearing things.
Yeah. I'm hearing. They're looking. Yeah, that was JT for like the last 2 years. They're trading him. So he's still here, and I just don't think you mess with that, man. He's a showman, bro. Like he's the reason you go to a ball game is to see a guy like that play baseball.
And you know what? So is the guy next to him in center field.
100%.
And in 1 year, he already showed swagger, confidence,
leadership,
the showmanship, the leadership. He showed so much of that in year 1.
Yeah, you build around those guys.
That could be the most special outfield in baseball for the next 8 years.
Yeah, 100%. So I just don't think you mess with it. I respect Harold Reynolds, but I think it's absurd. I wish they would stop bringing it up.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
In the sense that it's the most tradable piece to other teams, most appealing piece to other
teams would salivate over that. Like we'll give you our top 3 prospects and a guy that can throw 150 innings on the big league level. Yeah,
the way contracts are going, he's going to be a $40-50 million player, at least potential. And you got him for $25 million a year.
Yeah, it's insane. He's young. He's one of the most athletic guys I've ever seen. He switched to right field, won a platinum glove. He was electric in the playoffs. He's an electric player.
You acquired Tatis. He's the number one jersey seller for your team.
Correct.
Day one.
I would hate it, man. I mean, I would hate it. It would be very tough to stomach.
I mean, you just said 3 top prospects, but that could turn into nothing.
Right.
It
often does.
You're risking turning Fernando Tatis Jr. into nothing.
Right.
And that would be a consequence that sets your franchise back years, if not decades.
That'd be terrible. It would be terrible.
And that's why I think the odds of it happening are maybe not zero, but extremely low.
Yeah, I don't understand it from them every year. But this is the lot that we've been dealt as Padres fans. So it's
Alomar is one that stands out, not as a trade, but the free agent. Kevin Brown leaving in 1998. I was most pre-mad about that one. You knew the Padres weren't going to be able to afford to keep him. Dodgers ended up getting him. You just felt angry that happened. We're still mad today about Dodgers stealing away Padres players. Didn't work out all that well for the Dodgers. That's the crazy thing. That was so mad about that. And he never pitched as well again as he did in 1998 for the Padres.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even something I think that they should consider, especially right now where they stand. But it would be tough. That'd be the toughest one to swallow, I think, in franchise history, certainly.
Speaking of tough to swallow, my stomach noise still. We can play that at any time. It's not going anywhere.
No,
so why don't we push it back maybe to the bottom of the hour here? We've got Don't Do This coming up next. Eagles fan. Saw that story yesterday.
Bringing up a lot of bad things.
Stuff.
Yeah,
I know.
very sad.
It is sad.
But listen, this is not sad. This is good. This is fun. If you're a California sports fan, good news. Underdog available to play right here in our state. The best app for your big game party is actually on your phone. It's called Underdog. Underdog, the best place to cash in on all your takes during the big game. Which players are going to go off? Which ones are ice cold? Make your entries in just a few taps. With their pick'em game, you could win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats. You guys know how daily fantasy works. They are the only pick'em platform, puts the power to cash out in your hands. Now you can either keep riding with your entry or tap the win now button to cash out whenever you want. Been having a blast with Underdog, as I've told you. And I'm looking forward to looking at the big game and seeing which ones I'm going to bet there or which ones I'm going to pick there. Underdog is the best place to play pick'em. Download the app, sign up with the promo code WOODS, and deposit now. You'll get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. That's promo code WOODS. Must be 18 and over. Present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
first pre-do this, don't do this goes to me for forgetting to give away the Tom Arnold tickets. We will do that at the end of Don't Do This. And if I don't, then I am suspending myself or something.
No, you're doing this.
You have to stay.
No,
you don't want me to
yeah.
suspend
Don't get all that
myself.
Yeah, not gonna do that.
All right, Don't Do This is brought to you by Trust and Will. Don't leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die. Do set up a trust or will online at trustandwill.com. It's a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. This is a very sad story, but it also falls under the category of, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why when Philly wins big games, they grease the light poles.
Yeah.
It's a Philly tradition. People climb up to the tops of light poles. And, all right, why are you trying to stop them from doing that? Because it's dangerous.
Massively dangerous.
Especially when people have been drinking and they climb up a light pole. Guess what happens? Sometimes you fall. Sometimes you get hurt. And in
sometimes
the
you
worst
die.
case scenario, sometimes you die. An 18-year-old Temple University student has passed away after falling from a light pole while celebrating the Philadelphia Eagles' NFC Championship win. Tyler Sabapathy was celebrating with fans on the streets. Video shows Sabapathy holding onto a street pole and slipping and falling flat on his back, hitting his head on the concrete
Oh my
sidewalk.
God, dude.
He was hospitalized with a brain injury and pronounced dead 2 days later. And that is why you do not climb up, especially intoxicated, up light poles, no matter how happy you are that your football team is just going to the Super Bowl.
It's one of the most terrifying things about being a parent is your kids climbing on stuff. Honestly, like it gives me when my kids climb on the back of the couch, you fall off, you hit your neck, you're done, right? Like it's just so terrifying. But there's the only you're out there, you're in the moment. You get caught up. You're like, hell yeah, I could absolutely see myself climbing a light pole at 18.
Yes,
No question.
If the day ever happens and the Padres win the World Series, leave the gas lamps in the gas lamp district
Leave them alone. I don't even know that I would go down that night. I think that would be too much for me.
I probably agree with you.
I mean, how old will we be? We're going to both be 50 this year. We're talking. We could be 65 years old.
Just play that video of the guy marching through the streets of San Diego, and we'll just call it a celebration.
Just call it a day, man. This is always an interesting defense. When you send a tweet that you probably shouldn't have, you can always revert back to, wasn't me. I was hacked. And Patrick Mahomes
Prove I
Sr.
wasn't.
Yeah, prove I wasn't hacked. He, the other day, tweeted after Patrick Mahomes has eliminated the Buffalo Bills, tweeted from his account that it's a great day to not be from Buffalo. Okay? So he got summarily dragged because, today is a great day to not be from Buffalo. That's all he said. Well, people knowing his history of 3 DUIs in the last couple years, having some problems of his own, they started to drag him. And I mean drag him. And so yesterday...
It wasn't even clever or witty.
It's not clever or witty at all.
I mean, I get he's cheering for Kansas City and his son.
Yeah, but he's taking a shot at Buffalo unnecessarily. So it happens. It's not even that bad of a tweet. If you sent that tweet, just own it, right? But he didn't want to own it. So he definitely ruffled some feathers and then went on to Instagram and posted, haven't been on Twitter/X in years. My account was hacked. I do not have access to it. Please disregard any tweets from @PMahomes. He'd been tweeting for the last week, though, from that account. This is my boy, excited, feeling this energy from Chiefs Nation, pictures of them together. The last time, he tweeted in November of 24, so it's not years, right? That's a couple of months, and he was very active on Twitter. So again, one of those situations where I don't know that I necessarily buy the I was hacked thing.
Yeah, that one.
It's tough.
Yeah.
Because, you were tweeting all week about it. Just wear that tweet. That's not even that bad of a tweet.
It does bring up a point that we've made before. And we often, remind people that even superstar athletes have to deal with real life stuff.
Who more than Patrick
dramas.
Mahomes?
And you know what? Hey, they had an off game, whatever. You don't know what they're dealing with in their private lives. We know. Patrick Mahomes has dad drama wife drama.
Mom drama. It just goes on.
His
and
tight
on
end is dating the most famous woman on the planet. Drama.
Yeah.
Drama. And he doesn't really bring much, if any of it, onto himself, but it surrounds him at all times. And he just continues to
just plow through
and do his thing and
It's like
perform at an
playing
elite
quarterback's
level.
his escape.
Yeah. Being on the field getting chased by defensive linemen is his escape.
I was reading, there's some stories, just like he apparently he goes into this place like 90 minutes before a game, like he just locks in, like everything else is gone, like dark room, like I am getting into my quarterbacking zone, and that's it. For the next 4 hours, I am Patrick Mahomes, super quarterback for the Chiefs, and none of the rest of this,
none of it matters.
Exists in his world.
That's That's what makes pros.
Yeah.
The ability to do that, to tune out 40,000 people screaming against you, whatever it may be. To make a play, hit a fastball, deliver a pitch, whatever it may be, or sling the ball down the field. In Patrick Mahomes' case, but that's what makes the great ones great. None of that stuff gets to them at all, and they just put their head down and get through it. So,
his brothers brought some negative headlines. Andy says his place was robbed too, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. Patrick Mahomes is just gonna go out and get it done on the football field.
And you're still rolling with the Eagles in the big
I am
game,
still
huh?
rolling with the Eagles
Okay.
this week,
All right.
next week.
All right.
But I could be wrong.
Yeah.
All right, Paulie's bringing to the table a little do this.
DD mega
Played
doo
this
doo.
for us earlier. It's a video, but you'll be able to picture it. Now, I will say, spoiler alert. I know there are some people
Spoiler
out
alert.
there.
Well, it's a spoiler alert, but it's intended to be a spoiler alert. Like, it's a Super Bowl ad that
People
will air
sometimes-
next Sunday, and companies want those out now.
Well, yeah,
a week to 2 weeks before the actual game. You used to have to wait for the Super Bowl actual broadcast to see the commercials.
But there are some fans who want to be surprised on Super Bowl Sunday. Like, they're watching more for the commercials than the game.
I don't know how you avoid them at this point.
It is hard to avoid, but I'm just telling anybody that if you don't want to see or hear a Super Bowl commercial before it actually plays on Super Bowl Sunday,
You better stay off social media.
Yeah,
or
that's
here.
true. But we are going to play one for you that it tickled
it's one of the
our
best
fancies.
Super Bowl commercials I've seen in probably the last 10 years.
It's really
So
good.
the setup here is, you remember the Billy Crystal Meg Ryan movie When Harry Met Sally.
One of my favorites.
Top 5 movie from
And
all time.
of course, the famous scene at Katz's Deli in New York. And now, how many years later is it? 30?
What was that, like 88,
35
89?
years later.
Yeah.
They have returned the principals. Billy Crystal, Meg Ryan sitting at the same table.
It's a Hellman's mayonnaise commercial.
Yeah.
I can't believe they let us back in this place.
Why?
Hello?
Nobody remembers that.
Nobody remembers. They're eating their sandwich.
Yeah. Big bite of the sandwich.
Something wrong?
Not doing it.
No good?
Nothing.
Oh, we can't have that.
Now she adds the Hellmans.
Throw a little Hellman's on there.
What's happening? Here we go.
Oh my God. Oh, good. It's just. Woo!
Oh. This one's real.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Lunch and a show. Huh? How about that?
That is a sandwich. I'll have what she's having.
Sydney Sweeney.
I'm competing with a condom.
Sweeney says, I'll have what she's having.
I mean, they nailed it.
It's crushed it.
Absolutely crushed
I
it.
really like both. It's one of my favorite movies ever. When I was a kid, it was an adult movie when I was a kid, but it spoke to me. I really enjoyed it a lot, and still do. I need to give that a rewatch. It's been way too long.
Probably watch it like once every year. Or
Bruno
so.
Kirby is absolutely incredible in it. Incredible. It's great. It's great.
Billy Crystal doesn't get quite enough love.
He doesn't.
sometimes.
He really doesn't. The guy's he's amazing. So,
City Slickers. I love
brilliant
City
movie.
Slickers.
Brilliant movie. He's great.
Would you like to go to the movies with me tonight?
Paprikage.
Waiter,
That may be the one scene that I don't like. That one. Paprikage.
there's too much pepper on my paprika.
Yeah. Other than that, it's a pretty brilliant film. Mr. Zero New. Mr. Zero knew. So good.
And that is Don't and Do This for a Thursday.
Oh, Carrie Fisher.
That
yes.
was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
I teased it in our promo yesterday. You were already gone, but I said I get the negativity this offseason for the Padres. But what is something you're actually looking forward to for the upcoming season? We got Fan Fest on Saturday. There's going to be people there. There's going to be stars there. What are you actually? Come on, something you're looking forward to.
I see
for this baseball season.
I've seen 2% positive comments on Instagram and X right now. It's about 2%.
I'm not saying you're not justifying to have some, negative feelings. I'm saying you should have a few positive ones as well. And I want to get to that first. I've got some Tom Arnold tickets to give away. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, I did remember on the third try here. We've got 2 tickets to see Tom Arnold at National Lampoon, the Yellow Door this Saturday. You can get your own tickets at nlyellowdoor.com/San Diego or call Paul right now. Fourth caller, 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Win your pair of tickets to Tom Arnold. Check that box off, Woods.
Yeah, very well done, guys. And I'm here to tell you about Loan Pronto. Don't go through another year with all your high-interest debt. You can wipe it all out now with Loan Pronto. They make it easy to pay off all your credit cards with their rapid equity loan, or you can tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Their AI-driven technology gets you approved and funded in as little as a day. Low fixed rates, lightning fast transfers. Do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances today. Imagine being credit card debt free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 619-207-4336, or visit loanpronto.com. Get your free rate quote now with no hard credit pull at 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Call me crazy.
You're crazy.
Want to inject just a little bit of positivity into the atmosphere ahead of FanFest on Saturday.
You're going to get killed.
I know. That's fine. I know, but I talk to people. There will be people at FanFest. They will be happy to be there. Not every Padres fan is wired the same way.
Correct.
And we will be out there. We'll be broadcasting live 10 to noon. Then Annie and Elston noon to 2, and Gwen and Chris 2 to 4. Section 113, I was told yesterday, is where you can find us, which I believe is down the right field line where we were
I don't
last
think
time.
it's as far down as where we were last time, but yeah, it's 113. I think it's like right behind the first base bag.
Yeah, near Granol there, kind of, I think. Yeah.
I think it's going to be somewhere in there.
Okay,
I love it.
Perfect. All right, well, we'll see you out there. We know Jake Cronenworth's supposed to be stopping by, the newlywed.
Yes,
Mike
sir.
Schilt, the skipper, going to be on with us
Good.
as well in our second hour.
Schilty.
And I want to bring some positivity to the table. In fact, I want to open the phone lines. We gave away the prize already, so phone lines are clear. If you want to inject some positivity or tell me why I'm crazy, fine. 833-288-0973. You can join us here, 833-288-0973. The segment of Ben and Woods is brought to you by Robert Half. 9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. They're recruiting professionals, utilizing award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, they know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today. Want to take the easiest one off the board of something I am positive and looking forward to in 2025?
We're down the first base side, by the way.
That's what I said. First base.
Oh, I thought you said third.
No, first base.
Okay.
Like Grand Old, down the first base
Got it.
line. I think the easiest one to take off the board here. I am really, really excited to see Jackson Merrill season 2. I mean, I cannot wait.
This is Jackson Merrill.
After what we saw in year 1. Even if he doesn't take a big step forward, it's already pretty amazing. But the possibility that he could take, that step that a lot of guys do after they've seen pitching all through the league, they've gotten accustomed to the big league, travel schedule and everything that goes along with being a rookie, all the inherent disadvantages to being a rookie. And seeing what Jackson Merrill can do in his second season, that to me is the number one thing I am really, really looking forward to in 2025.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very obvious answer. I was thinking about it last night. A few things. I think I'm actually, at least with some of the people I interact with, I'm in the minority on Luis Arraez. I love hitting. I love hitting so much, and I've never been good at it. And I love watching guys that ply their craft at the art of hitting. I know he doesn't hit the ball the hardest. I know he doesn't hit the ball the farthest. I know he doesn't walk enough. I love to watch that man hit. I just do. I love watching guys that are so good. I watch every one of his videos he puts out in the off season of how he trains, and I teach my kid and my kids, watch how he keeps his head still. You know what I mean? Watch this knob to the ball. Watch the barrel come through. It's like baseball porn for me. I just love watching that dude hit. So I'm excited to see, if he's here, what he can do with a surgically repaired thumb. The bullpen is another area that I'm very excited to watch and I think can be pretty nasty. I want to see Sean Reynolds take the next step. I want to see Yuki Matsui, after a year, kind of a culture shock being here, didn't have some great outings, showed some flashes of brilliance. I want to see if he can take the next step.
That's a good point. There's no reason to think that he should be a little bit better than he was first season.
I would hope so, yeah.
And he wasn't that bad. He had a couple of bad outings for sure. But overall, the numbers were actually pretty fine, and you would only think he would get better next year. You mentioned Sean Reynolds, and then you didn't have Jason Adam to start last year. Now you've got him as part of the pen. He's pretty nasty as well. Yeah, the bullpen is definitely an area where you can dream and get a little excited for the 2025 Padres. Paul, you got something?
I was going to say Jackson Merrill,
yeah, that's
for
fine.
sure, but I will say I'm looking forward to a full, healthy season from Manuel Machado.
Me too.
At third base.
Started last year, obviously not being Manny for the first couple of months.
A lot of the same reasons Woods just gave for Arraez. I could watch Manny Machado play third base all day long.
Forever.
It's just unbelievable, both offensively and defensively, what he brings. He had a pretty damn good 2024 for not being full health until, I don't know, July, like
Yeah.
June, July, and he still put up, I think just shy of 30 home runs. I think he had 29 last year, but give me a full season of a healthy Manny Machado. It's always fun to see how far can he take this.
You can never, guarantee health or even predict health, but I do feel like, especially offensively, the Padres are in a much better spot this year than they were last year health-wise. With Manny coming off his surgery, Arise played most of the season hurt last year. Xander's battled, injuries the last couple of years. Tatis has had injuries. Now, maybe that's chronic and everybody's going to be hurt again this year, but we haven't really gotten to see a Padres season where their main core stayed healthy. And what that actually looks like. And, I can kind of dream on it this year a little bit just because you don't have quite as many issues going into the season. Now, pitching's on the other side. Knowing that Joe is out for the year and there's nothing they can do about it, that's a tough one because you're thin at pitching and you know that other pitching injuries will crop up over the course of the season. That's a true concern. But on the offensive side of the ball, the Padres, I think, health-wise, are in a pretty good place and better than they've maybe been the last couple of years going into the season.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's the offseason has been so tumultuous. It's been so it's been such a tough pill to swallow getting that close last year. In a perfect world, you win 93 games and feel like you were the favorites for the World Series if you hadn't gone 24 scoreless. And to not build on that right now stinks. It stinks. There's no other way to look at it. So I can understand that perspective. But for me, I know I'm wired differently. I just love the game. I love having the games on. I love having something to look forward to every single day. For a long stretch. I love watching with my kids. I love teaching the game with my kids. I love them learning. I love them watching the players. And man, I like watching Michael King pitch last year was like watching an artist paint at times. And I hope we can find a way to keep him. And so man, we're not. If I was a Marlins fan, I'd still be excited to see what the Marlins were going to run out there. But I'm excited. I'm getting more excited by the day the closer we get. But yeah, with all this stuff going on in the legal world of this team, it does make you get a little bit panicked about the future. And when you have the main network for Major League Baseball telling you should trade your superstars, it's tough. It's tough to get excited, and I do understand that.
Let's go out to the phones for some tier ones. We got Alfredo on the line. Alfredo, always good to hear from you. Good morning. Welcome to 97.3 The Fan.
Good morning, guys. How are you today?
Good, buddy.
Good. So I am actually excited for the game because I want to see what Schultz is going to do. I mean, he had a great track record with the Cardinals, and he sure as hell didn't have Tatis, Merrill, Machado, Sander, and Arise in that lineup when he was managing the Cardinals, and he had a great season. And on top of that, you still have Cease, you have King, you have Darvish going out, and even Waldron if he does go out. I mean, it's going to be good. And if the Dodgers mess it up, oh my God, it's going to be so much sweeter.
It really is.
Everything. I mean, I am excited, even though we didn't stack up on players like we hoped. But you know what? We still have 5 potential All-Stars in the lineup. First team. So it can't be that bad.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and I would actually say potential all-stars. You could have more. I mean, you really could if you factor in a Robert Suarez or something like that, a Michael King, a Dylan Cease, a Jackson Merrill, Fernando Tatis, a Manny Machado, a Luis Arise. There's 8 guys right now that you could see if they have a strong first half could cruise to the All-Star game. I mean, that's a good place to start. It's not perfect by any stretch because. Honestly, man, if one of those guys on the left side goes down, you feel like you're toast. I mean, you just feel like you're toast.
I do think Alfredo makes a good point, and I want to talk to Mike Schilt about this. One of my questions for him when we see him on Saturday at FanFest, how far ahead at this point do you feel like you are? Compared to last year at this time, Mike Schilt had gone and met with some of the players, but when we saw him at the start of spring training, he admitted to us, I got a lot of work to do here.
Yeah.
I got a lot of work to do.
Well, so he's installing a new culture.
Right. How much of that carries over now to this team with mostly the same, well, I mean, you don't have everybody back, but everybody who's back has pretty much been through the Mike Shildt program for a season. You shouldn't have to have quite the ramp up as you did last year. Or is it like football coaches say? Every year's a different team.
Sure.
Every year's absolutely new, and it's like starting from square one. Even when you have a lot of the same players, it's not the same when you come back another year. How does Mike Shildt approach that? Is he, do you pick up where you left off, or are you kind of going back to the building blocks like you did at the start of spring training in 2024?
One thing I'm excited to see is the identity of this San Diego Padre team in the year 2025. If it were me in charge, I would be hammering home the underdog narrative. I mean, I would just be, hey, literally nobody believes in us. I heard Ben and Woods saying, 81 games will be a stretch. No one believes in us. Nobody. Everybody thinks the team up north is going to run away right to a World Series. Let's prove them differently. I would like to see them embrace that role. Villains, if you will, right? Like the Dodgers are the villains because they spent the most money and et cetera, et cetera. But be the bullies, actually. Like I'd love to see the Padres take on more of a bully role of like, no one thinks we can do this thing and let's show them we can. I love that mentality. I love rooting for a team like that. It's fun.
Can you be both a plucky underdog and a bully at the same time?
100%.
You can do both 100%. At the same time?
100%. 100%.
I do worry about. They had a lot of great moments, things magical moments. I don't know you're going to have as many of those this year, but you could.
Why not? Jackson Merrill still exists. Fernando Tatis Jr. still exists.
Go ahead home runs in the 8th.
Manny
or 9th
Machado
inning,
still exists.
Yeah.
There's no pressure on you, really. I mean, you got close last year, but the pressure is all up north, right? That's 100% of the pressure. And as fun as as much fun as Dave Roberts is going to have with that roster, like it's pretty cool that he gets to do that. The regular season for them means nothing. It just means nothing. So how do you manage like that? How do you manage to keep everyone healthy? That's been an issue for them. There's a tremendous amount of pressure on them. There's really not on the San Diego Padres. I mean, we all want them to do great, but you didn't spend a nickel in the offseason really. Go out there and show what you can do with the core of the players that you have.
All right, I want to get to our Throwback Thursday moment. I've been teasing it for about an hour now, so let's get to that right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your trusted instant drive-thru oil change. Crash on tap on 125 past Lemon Avenue was blocking the fast lane. It's now in the center divide. Also eastbound 8 before the 67. A collision over to the right shoulder. Watch out for some debris in the left lanes on northbound 805 right before the 5 merge. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, for today's Throwback Thursday, we're going back 3 years. What did you say, February 1st?
Yeah,
3 years ago tomorrow.
3 years ago.
2022. And so Woods has no problem on the air if he has to, just let it out. Lets it out.
That wasn't me, that was Paul.
I not only don't, I can't. For some reason, I am physically incapable of burping.
Right.
Which is weird. But at some point.
Excuse me. There you go. I didn't even know we had that drop.
I didn't either.
That's brilliant.
Saving it
Excuse me.
Just for the right moment. But like everyone, it has to get out somehow.
Yeah.
There are gases that build up and somehow.
Yeah, we know how burps work, yes.
But I can't really.
Ben's playing burp.
He's Ben's playing a burp, yes. This wasn't a burp.
No, it wasn't, but it was definitely a gurgle.
Yeah,
it was a gurgle.
Yeah, we were on the air.
Unexpected.
In the middle of something, and this happened. You thought that was good? You thought that was good news yesterday?
Yeah.
I did not. What in the world? Who was that?
That was me.
My mic was off.
Holy S word.
It's just like an air bubble. What?
Are you okay?
It got me.
Just a little air bubble.
That was incredible.
Oh, wow. That's where that comes from.
Paulie, you can rewind that.
Do we
Damn
have,
right I can,
Do we
and I
have
will.
the old one that we from the last station? Do we?
I do. You'll have to give me a minute.
We got. Oh, geez, I just had a short in my brain.
So,
It's like a cat purring.
yeah, Paulie didn't take him long.
No, didn't stop there.
To remix that all over the place. And there was one particular sound that it reminded everybody of, and I can't say that you were wrong about it either.
Vader's on that ship. Now, don't get jittery, Luke. There are a lot of command ships. Keep your distance, though, Chewie, but don't look like you're trying to keep your distance. I don't know. Fly casual.
Paulie, I had no idea that was coming, and he just laid me out with it. It's one of my favorite moments. No question about
That
it.
is funny because I didn't realize either. What's the drop that it's? That's
Oh, that's incredible!
That's incredible.
Yeah, I forgot that was from there.
I could always assume, but it's probably about some amazing Manny Machado
Yeah, that's
play.
incredible. That was incredible.
Fernando Tatis Jr. home run.
That was incredible.
No, that's about
Ben's
a
gurgle.
weird gurgling noise that I make.
It's so good, man. It's so good. That gurgle should be like a cue to call for Aztec tickets later.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
you know what? We do have some Aztecs tickets to give away later, and I'll probably forget about it given my track record this morning. So, not this segment, but anytime in the second half of Ben and Woods, when you hear, you'll call in at 833-288-0973. And you can win a pair of tickets to see the Aztecs
The
take
next
on
time you hear it.
Wyoming on Saturday night at Viejas Arena. Get your tickets at goaztecs.com. So next time you hear it, call in 833-288-0973. I'm sure J.D. Wicker loves that we're giving away Aztecs tickets based on my stomach gurgling noise.
I'm sure he doesn't care.
I do get sometimes kind of butterflies and stomach gurgles as I watch the Aztecs.
Yeah,
So
big time.
Maybe it's kind of appropriate that's how we're giving away the Aztecs tickets.
No, it's a no-brainer. No-brainer at all. That was just Paulie at his best, man. Doing that, getting that, and taking that and putting it in the Star Wars jam was just incredible.
So speaking of throwbacks, and we can get to this, I think, coming up after the top of the hour. But if you were listening yesterday, we talked about our friend Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and his old imaging director.
You got a problem.
Milton Hines.
Yes.
And I shared my memories of one of my favorite ever Hacksaw promos on the old 690 when what were we talking about yesterday?
You got a problem.
Keeping,
It was the awkward audio, the awkward moment on ESPN.
That's
where
right.
The host was saying,
The host said it. Jalen Hurts, I have him
not
in
a
the top
top
10,
10,
and his
and
producer just hammers
fact-checked
him.
him. He goes, "No, you didn't."
Yeah, no, you didn't. I've got clips everywhere.
And
the guy's
nowadays,
like,
it's so easy to find the clips. They're everywhere. The receipts are all over the place. But back then, in like the 90s, there was no internet to check up on people.
you could just say stuff.
Yeah. And, there's no app to rewind and find the audio.
There's no listeners listening and calling you out. They might write a letter to the station. It'll be 3 weeks later before you got it. What a dream that must have been. You could just come in and do this job, and you didn't have to spend your day.
January 5th, you said something that I found particularly offensive.
I literally got called mentally ill yesterday on social media. So, they didn't have to deal with any of this stuff. So I don't want to hear these guys crying
Milton
anymore.
to keep Hacksaw at least somewhat honest.
Crazy.
And we have actually, thanks to Secret Tier 1, uncovered that audio, and we will share it with you coming up.
You've got a problem.
On 97.3 The Fan.
Baker joins us as well. Morning, Benjamin.
Good to be here.
What happened to our stream?
You are gone.
Disappeared.
You have disappeared from the stream, so
cool.
You're just going to have to imagine what Woods looks like at the moment. You can hear him still.
Yeah.
But you're just going to have to use your imagination. It's very tall and handsome, well-groomed. In your imagination, you can be anything you want.
That's true.
There you are.
That's true.
Back to the normal
My back?
Woods. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
We
Sorry
back.
about that. Handsome, huh? Thank you, Ben.
No, in my imagination.
Oh, in your
you
imagination.
Were very handsome.
Yeah, at one time, I think I have qualified.
Voice of an angel.
No, not really. Not really at all. I speaking of voice of an angel, before we talk about this, I called radio legend David Rickards yesterday.
Had him in studio recently. That was very fun.
Yeah, formerly of Dave Shelley and Chainsaw, who, when they called it quits, allowed us to fly up in the ratings, which was great. And I thank Dave for retiring every day. Miss, obviously hearing he does a podcast, and that's what I was calling him about. My wife wants to do a podcast, and she's on me pretty hard about it.
Were you hoping that maybe
he would do it with her?
He would do it with her?
My Idiot Soulmate with Dave Rickards and Hannah Nancaro Woods. He will do a better job than I would, I'll tell you that. So I called him about the place that they record, and I just had some questions. I texted him, hey, is it cool if I give you a call? He said, absolutely. Bro, when you call him and he's like, hello, and you're like, oh, hi, Dave. He's like, hey, buddy. And he's just those pipes and that voice. He was so kind, gave me kind of the rundown on what they're doing. And he said, he goes, hey, I want to thank you again for having me on. He said, you guys have a lot of fans. I got a lot of feedback about that. I said, you have a lot of fans. You have a lot of fans. We got a lot of feedback about that as well. And he said, I said, you got to come do it again someday. He goes, done. Anytime. Anytime you guys need me, call me. But just offered 20 minutes of his time to kind of walk me through what they're doing. And just a really, really cool. It's wild to.
What does he think about like the weekly Dave Rickards hour?
An hour,
like Wednesdays at 9 o'clock.
Well, here's the thing I know about Dave, because it's funny because I said to him, I go, look, he's like, so are you gonna do this? I go, I don't know yet. I said, I don't know yet. I said, here's what I do know. I just want to show up and hit on, do the hour-long podcast, and then I want to hit off, and I want to walk away. I don't want to manage social media on it. I don't want to put it on YouTube. I don't want to sell it. I don't want to do anything. If we make some money off it, give me my half. I told my wife this morning, give me my half, and we'll call it a day. I said, but I don't want to do anything. I already have 20 hours of content to fill a week.
You start devoting all your time.
Yeah, and how what does that do for you guys?
Hour-long podcast.
Where I'm over here, hey, yeah, would you like to invest in our? Like, no, that's not going to happen. You guys know me. This will be my priority. And so, yeah, I'm working it through. Usually, I just dive into things. This, I'm actually thinking it through. And he was really, really cool and kind, and to be able to call him and get to hear that voice on the phone. So he said the same thing. He goes, it's exactly like me. He goes, I just want to show up and do my thing and walk away. And he said, he goes, I'm not trying to make money off this. I've already done that in radio. And I was like, it must be nice for you. And
not everybody did, Dave.
Yeah, not everybody did, Dave. You son of a bitch. Guy's just chilling. Made so much money in this business. I'm always
can always use more.
I'm always a day late and $1 short, bro. But he was awesome, man. So it's good to talk to him. Sends his best to both of you guys and all of the audience out there as well. And yeah, that's something that will happen again. But a weekly for him, Ben, he's going to want to make money off of that.
I realize that.
Right. He's not going to do it for exposure. Do you know why? He's already been exposed for 30 years in this market.
Completely exposed.
Tell him it's good for his brand.
Yeah, this is great for your brand. He's like, what brand? I do a podcast. I'm already rich. So he was awesome, man. It was really cool to talk to him yesterday.
I'm glad you're keeping the lines of communication open.
That's what I do best.
That's a good thing. You are
I'm
good
the
at
best
that.
at it. Yep.
You are my guy for keeping lines of communication open.
That's the value I bring.
I am not good at keeping lines of communication.
Not even.
I barely communicate with you two.
Dude, driving home with Ben 6 hours in a car, we do a radio show together. Every 5 days a week, we're driving home like this. He's shouting out billboards. Dental work. Why would anyone go there for dental
a lot
work?
of dental billboards.
There were.
In the desert,
Gila
just
Bend
beyond,
area.
no, beyond
No,
Yuma.
beyond.
It was just beyond Yuma, and I'm going, why are there 17 ads for dentists
Yeah.
in Los Algodones, California? I have no idea.
But it's true. Like, we do a show together, and we're riding home like, so what are you up to tonight? I don't know. Dinner. What are you going to have? I'm feeling Chinese, he said.
Yeah.
So I got
We did.
Chinese that night
I
as
did
well.
too. Yeah, I got Chinese.
I did as well.
It just takes one little power of suggestion.
Yeah, that's it.
Little power of suggestion.
That's
but
right.
no, here, what's the right amount if you're close to a person, like a spouse or
Yeah.
a really good friend? How much time do you actually need in a day to talk to that person and feel like you are totally caught up with everything? 20 minutes?
That's a good question. Well, we have a
30 minutes?
6-hour drive.
Well, I'm saying we talk for 4 hours every day. We're far beyond the level
Of what
ever
you do.
ever needing to say anything to each other.
But do you not admit it's awkward driving in silence?
Of course it is. But there's
Did
nothing
you feel
left to say.
uncomfortable?
We get through our 30 minutes, and then we go another 3.5 hours every day, just adding on to things that most people don't have time to talk to their friends or their loved ones
Yeah.
about. But we talk about everything, and then some, and then even more
Then
every
more.
single day.
It's true.
I got nothing left for you on a 6-hour drive.
Yeah, we really didn't have much to say on the drive home. But but he did. He pointed out all the billboards.
Apparently, Algodones is the dentist mecca of Mexico, so that's why there were all those billboards.
Just driving.
Dentist.
Just quiet. In the back, golf in the background, you just hear dental work. 1-800-DENTIST.
Oral surgery.
Yeah, oral surgery. And I'm just sitting there going, I would look at Waze and be like, oh, cool. 4 hours and 48 minutes to go. Dental work.
In a motorcycle accident.
It's so funny, dude. Paulie and I drive for 6 hours. We look up, we're like, hey, we made it. Like, we just BS the whole time. It's so good.
Root canal.
Root canal. So brilliant. So brilliant. Oh, my Lord. Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's nice, though. You know, obviously, we're close to each other. When I started in radio, my first job was answering phones for Lee Hacksaw Hamilton's show. Don't think he knew my name. Really,
You got a problem.
which is fine. I
my
didn't,
favorite.
I didn't expect. He's big.
One seed, by the way. One seed. Yeah, it's one seed.
Yeah,
I'm
we're
sorry.
getting close, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
Tournament of drops
Tournament
pretty
of drop.
soon.
It's
About 5
if
weeks
that's not a
away.
1, it's a 2. I mean, it's just it kills me.
You got a problem.
Yeah, he was the biggest star of Southern California sports radio, bar none.
No question.
In the 80s and 90s into the 2000s, the franchise Lee Hacksaw Hamilton.
That was his
So-
nickname.
Pilates?
The franchise.
franchise,
Oh,
yeah.
my God. That's awesome.
His self
self-given
nickname. Yeah.
All right.
And Hacksaw, I think, was also a self-given nickname as well. But
Yeah, I
that's
don't think
fine.
so, yeah.
He made it work for him. So I'd answer phones and put callers on hold.
Finally, the chance for somebody to get on and do some good sports talk radio.
And
How long did you do that for?
I only had to do the phones for a few months, and then I moved into more of the backroom production stuff.
Yeah.
And then finally, I got my chance to get on the air. But anytime he would see me, which would pass in the hallways. Hey, rookie, how's it going? Rookie. I was rookie.
You guys wouldn't catch up every
2
morning
years.
before the show?
No, there was no. He had his office. His office, by the way, legendary. He had
Stripper pole.
No. Stacks
It's a Pilates pole.
of Oh, I was
Pilates
I was in
studio.
Arizona. I was in Arizona.
Well, sorry.
I did
Pilates.
Club
Club
Pilates was there
Every time. Kills me.
He never threw away a media guy, and he got all of them from every team every year.
team.
They would stack up. If there was an earthquake, he would have died under an avalanche of media guides that reached up to the ceiling in 40 stacks of them all
So
around.
he'd have the Minnesota Vikings media
for
guy.
10 years.
10 years.
Just stacked up.
For what?
From the floor to the ceiling, just in case he needed to refer to it. And then
When?
big old reel-to-reel tapes, just stacks and stacks that he'd handwrite little labels on,
Yeah.
and slap them on. His office was absolutely legendary. So, but we were talking about now it's easy to fact check.
Hey, Jay, this is Hacksaw.
But Hacksaw always took advantage of the fact that, no one could really go back and, check on what he said. So, like all of us, he liked to be right. And back in, 1999, when the Yukon Huskies and Duke Blue Devils played in the national championship game in college basketball, he made his prediction on Friday and then came back on his Monday show and then took credit.
Wait, when do they play the games usually? On
a Monday night. So he made his prediction Monday morning and then, that's right, Tuesday.
Monday morning and then
came
Tuesday.
back and took credit for his correct prediction. And I would imagine most people were like, oh, yeah, Hacksaw knows his stuff. But wait, hold on. If you were actually listening, that wasn't the case. And Milton Hines was the producer, and he was the one who would sometimes call out Hacksaw on his inconsistencies. And we had a tier one who secretly provided Paulie with the audio of that moment that I was talking about. He turned it into a promo. It was all over the airwaves in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Did I not tell you last night that UConn was going to win? I'm picking the Duke Blue Devils to take out the Connecticut Huskies in tonight's NCAA championship game. How about you? You owe me money, Southern California.
The franchise. It's a new all-time low.
There it is. That audio still exists from more than 25 years ago.
I still will never be able to get the thought of you knocking on his door and he's like, I'm doing Pilates in here. Leave me alone. His own private Pilates studio.
That's so funny. Ben and I, for having 15, 16, 17 years between us, the paths that we've taken in radio has been very similar.
Yeah.
I mean, who was the first show you ever worked on?
Hacksaw.
No, wasn't it?
The
Coach.
I did. The Coach John Quintero.
That was the first show
that was
I
the first one I produced.
On.
Yeah, I was the producer for the Coach John Quintero.
The very first time I ever stepped into a real radio station at the Mighty 1090, I was an intern. It was Hacksaw in the morning.
Terrifying.
A lot of us have the same path. Craig Elston, same thing. He trained me on a lot of the cutting sound and tape at the old 690 days. Yeah, it's all interconnected.
I got a phone call and started as the number 2 on a major morning show immediately. And it was actually 15 years ago on Saturday.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, rookie.
Yeah, well done, rookie.
And
never paid your dues.
You can face, we don't have Take on Woods. We got Real or Fake coming up next.
Yeah.
Need a contestant, 833-288-0973 if you want a chance to qualify for a trip to Las Vegas. 833-288-0973. That's coming up next here on Ben and Woods.
Well, I was told you guys I was in the gym yesterday and was talking to my trainer, and he goes, hey, man, I hear you talking about QC Kinetics a lot. And he said, I've thought about doing PRP. He lifts very heavy weights, much heavier than I do, but there was a time a couple years ago, could not go to the gym, could not do anything because of the pain in my wrists. And then I went to QC Kinetics and got the treatments, and I'm back in the gym doing all the things I love to do. And that's exactly what QC Kinetics can do for you. Kind of starts as a nuisance. You put up with it for a while, then it impacts everything in your life. If it's walking, climbing stairs, even getting in and out of the car hurts. For me, it was picking up my children. I couldn't do it. I could not pick up my, at the time, 2-year-old. And it was pretty terrifying, to be honest. So, look, talking about that always there joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, and back, call QC Kinetics today. Don't wait. Make the call. Talk to the local medical professionals there. Their new orthobiologic cellular therapies, including PRP, can revitalize your joints without going under the knife. Joint pain does not get better with time. So before it's absolutely debilitating, see if you're a candidate for these life-changing regenerative treatments. Torrey Hills and Hillcrest, 2 different locations for you. Call, get a free consultation today at 619-614-PAIN, 619-614-PAIN. It's QC Kinetics, 619-614-PAIN.
Question, Woods. You mentioned how your meteoric rise to radio stardom pretty much started on the top. You didn't do the whole answering phones, running the board bit like Paulie and I did.
No.
Do you feel guilty at all about that?
Not even a little.
Okay, good.
Not even. Not.
I
not
sometimes. So my television story is somewhat like yours. I didn't have to work in,
Wichita,
Idaho Falls,
Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Steve Smith, who I work with, was in Bemidji, Minnesota, then Kalamazoo, Michigan, and Redding, California. Before coming back home to San Diego.
Yeah.
I started and have only worked at a major affiliate, ABC affiliate, on the air in San Diego from the very start. And I sometimes feel a little guilty as I hear stories like Steve's, like Bemidji, Minnesota. You have any idea how cold Bemidji, Minnesota is in the winter?
Yeah, I've seen Fargo. It looks terrible.
Yeah, it's the grind. It's the dues that most people have to pay in that business.
Yeah, I paid zero. I paid my dues after.
Oh yeah,
and during.
Sure.
Yeah, never had a panic attack in my life till I started this.
The bill always comes due at some point.
100%.
But yours was paid a little later.
Yeah.
Other people have to pay them earlier on their way up.
Yeah, I definitely don't feel guilty because I definitely feel like I've paid more than my fair share of dues. I've had it's been a very tumultuous ride, but the last 7 years, by far the best, and smooth sailing from here on out.
All right, I feel
2 more years, that's it.
Feel like the last couple of editions of Real or Fake were not my best efforts. I'm hoping today is a little more entertaining.
Well, you want people to win.
Well, I want people to win, but they've
had
4-0. They were sweeps.
Yeah.
They were easy. They weren't that funny. I don't know. But we'll try. We'll try again today on a Throwback Thursday. Let's get to it. It is time for Real or Fake.
Some are here for the compelling sports talk with Ben and Woods. If you can go plow through another donut. It's time for Real or Fake on 97.3 The Fan. Tell the people what they'll win today.
The prize is qualification for our grand prize drawing. 2-night stay in Las Vegas to see the Scorpions on August 14th, plus 2 nights stay at Planet Hollywood on a $100 gas card. The Scorpions returning with their 60 Years of the Scorpions Las Vegas residency show, live August 14th through the 23rd at PH Live at Planet Hollywood Resort and Casino. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. And we got Zach ready to play a little Real or Fake. Good morning, Zach. How are you?
Good morning. How are you doing?
Good, buddy. We're pretty good. All right, Woods is here to help you. All you need to do is get 4 of the 7 right on Real or Fake, and we'll put you into the drawing for the grand prize. So here's what I've got for you today. The football, and maybe Woods knows a little bit about this. The football world is about to descend on New Orleans for Super Bowl 59. So let's learn a little bit more about the Big Easy in today's edition of Real or Fake. I'll give you the name of a drinking establishment.
Ooh.
You just have to tell me if it's a real Bourbon Street bar or a fake I have made up for today's game.
I've been there several times.
All right, Woods has been there. Zach, have you ever been to New Orleans?
I have not.
All right,
so
okay.
I'm going to up on this one.
All right, that's all right. It's a guessing game. That's all right, and you only need 4 correct. All right, let's go. Round number 1. Voodoo 37. Real or fake? Voodoo 37.
I feel like Voodoo would fit in, but I also feel like this plays into your game. I'm going to need help on this one.
Bro, I was thinking the exact same thing. I think we start with fake on that. Sounds like a bit.
Says fake. Zach, what do you say?
We'll go fake on this.
God, you guys getting good at this. All right, that's 1 on your way to 4. All right, let's go to round number 2. The Sazerac Club. Real or fake Bourbon Street bar? The Sazerac Club.
I want to say real, but what do you think?
I'm with you. I kind of want to say real, too.
Let's lock in real.
Real is the answer. No, it's fake.
Son of a... What is Sazerac? It's a type
of drink.
It's
a cocktail that you could order in New Orleans. I don't know exactly the mixology of it, but all right, that's all right. 1 and 1. Let's go to round number 3. The Old Absinthe House. Real or fake? The Old Absinthe House.
Real or fake?
Flake.
Absinthe.
Real or flake?
Absinthe House.
Absinthe House. It's real or fake? I've had a little too much absinthe.
The old, ye old, or the
just old? O-L-D-E. Old Absinthe House.
Absinthe House.
Absinthe House.
It sounds too obvious to make up, but I don't know. Wood, what do you think?
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me. let's say fake.
Really?
Let's get fake on that.
Fake. 3 fakes in a row? No, that's
Son of a-
real.
By the way, in the chat, they are saying there is a Sazerac bar in New Orleans.
Is it called the Sazerac Club?
I'm sure there is many Sazerac bars, but there's no Sazerac Club on Bourbon Street.
Sorry. All right, we're 1 and...
All right, here we go. We are
gotta get it
1
together.
and 2. All right, let's see if we can even it up. Round number 4. The world-famous Cat's Meow. Real or fake Bourbon Street bar?
I want to say I've
The
been there. If
world-famous
I'm not,
Cat's Meow.
If I'm not
Real or
insane.
fake, Zach?
I'm nervous, Zach. I'm sorry. He's in my head. I think he's real, though.
Zach, you still there?
Yeah,
Oh.
we'll go.
You're going
All right,
real?
real.
All
Let's
right.
go.
Real?
Cat's Meow. Boom.
Maybe you have been there
Think
because
I
that one
have
is
been
real.
there.
All right, we're 2 and 2 here. All right, let's go to round number 5. Bayou Blues and Brews. Real or fake? Bayou Blues and Brews. Real or fake?
So obvious. It
Okay, I'm going to take a Woods on this one.
It sounds so obvious. Like it sounds so made up. Bayou Brews and Blues.
Blues and
Brew-
Brews.
Oh, excuse me.
Sorry.
Made up name of a fake restaurant, a fake bar. Fake.
He
Fake
says fake. Zach?
Fake, we're going.
Fake.
Yeah!
Good
I
one
love
there.
it.
All right, all you need is one more of these last 2. Round number 6. Crazy Corner. Crazy Corner. Spelled with K's, by the way. Crazy Corner. Real or fake? I don't know if that makes it more real or more fake, but real.
I don't know. Last time I went on my own, I lost. Woods,
Let's go.
I need you.
Let's go real, dog.
All right, we're going real.
And you would be correct.
Yeah,
and
buddy!
we have a winner. Congratulations, Zach.
I think you gave it away.
They did with the 2 Ks, with
Yeah.
the K, spelled with the Ks.
I
You
had, to
gave
be,
it away.
I had to be accurate. That's the actual name of the bar. Last one, Saints and Sinners.
Fake.
That's real. Pretty good game today. Congratulations, Zach. Hang on the line, Paulie. Will get your information at the break, and we'll get you into the drawing for the grand prize. I had some new Padres rumors, Sports Illustrated, Padres, Mets, Dylan Cease, Michael King trade talks, maybe even like the possibility of a return. We don't usually hear the rumors of what the Padres could be getting back. Just
I hope it's not what I saw.
who they
on
could
Twitter.
be talking about. So we'll get into those coming up when we return. First, do you know the secret to losing up to a pound of fat per day? At sdfatloss.com, I learned the secret back in 2023. It really involves just eating regular foods at the right times, in the right portions, picking and choosing things like steak and chicken. And I followed their program to a T, and I lost 40 pounds in 60 days. You can as well lose 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 2 months with no prepackaged meals, no bars, no shakes. You don't even need to exercise, and no injections or hormones either. I know they're a big fad right now, and if it's fine if it works for you, but really not sustainable unless you're planning on taking injections every week for the rest of your life. As soon as you stop, hunger is going to come back, and if you haven't changed what you eat and how you eat, you're not going to keep the weight off. I have kept the weight off. Every single pound, you can do it as well. Take advantage of the SDFatLoss.com New Year's special. A new you in the new year. Get $200 off. You have to sign up before January 31st. So today or tomorrow, just go to the website, SDFatLoss.com. Set up your free consultation. It's not just me. Chris Ella lost 37 pounds. Matt Scraby lost 40 pounds. So many Tier 1s have done the program, lost way more than even I have, 50, 60, 90 pounds. It is possible. You can do it. And it really is. It is a sustainable plan. You can even have some cheat days every once in a while. I did, and I still lost the weight. I promise you. This is good for busy people. This is good for people who don't like shakes and bars and mixes. That's like me. So sign up today. Get your free consultation. You got nothing to lose here. SDFatLoss.com. That's SDFatLoss.com. Wesley in our YouTube chat is leading some speculation on my real or fake tendencies, trying to figure me out.
That's the age of analytics, isn't it?
Well, you know what? If there's usually 4 reals and 3 fakes, then just say real to every single one, and eventually you're going to get 4 right. There's not always 4 and 3. I've done 1 and 6, 6 and 1. I've even done 7 and none occasionally. I do try to mix it up to make it a legitimate game. It's a guessing game, but a legitimate game with maybe, 1 or 2 you might actually know. The rest of them, I like them to be fairly random guesses. Educational, but yeah, punny. I like to sometimes, the funny ones that sound fake but are real, those are the ones that delight me.
You're easily delighted.
I am easily delighted. There's no doubt about that.
All right, let's get into some of these rumors because I just saw a new one.
Yes, I did
pop
too.
Up on my feed.
John Morosi is reporting that the Padres have spoken with the Cubs now about a Dylan Cease trade. I don't consider any of these stories
Dylan Thief
to be major breaking news.
Dylan Thief. To the Cubs.
It would be a bigger story to me if someone reported, Cubs have not had one conversation with the Padres about Dylan Cease or Michael King. I would say almost every contender has probably picked up the phone and at least felt out AJ about what he's looking for if he's going to trade these guys.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why wouldn't you? There's not a lot of pitching available on the market. Dylan Cease and Michael King are both reasonably affordable, productive pitchers for this year. And if you're trying to make the playoffs or win a World Series, there's not a team in baseball that probably wouldn't like. Maybe the Dodgers would say, we've got enough, we're good. But every other team would say, yes, we could definitely find room for a Dylan Cease or a Michael King in our starting rotation. So, yes, they are going to be a lot of discussions. And every time someone, leaks out, AJ talked to the Cubs. Okay, fine. And you're probably 9 other teams that you haven't reported on that he's talked to about these players. So that's not huge news. What was different about the report yesterday that I believe Sports Illustrated at least picked it up, about the talks with the Mets involving Dylan Cease and or Michael King, was the actual mention of a potential return for the San Diego Padres. You rarely hear what are you dangling in return for Dylan Cease? And the Mets, according to this report at least, would potentially move a top 10 to 15 prospect, as well as Starling Marte, and eat a portion of his contract. I will just go ahead and say right now, and I think Woods would agree with me, hard pass.
No, thank you.
Starling Marte is more expensive than Dylan Cease. So
$20 million.
He's got 1 year left on his deal, and over the last 2 years combined, he's had basically 0 WAR.
Awesome.
I'd rather
sign me up.
I'd
How
rather
much are
see.
they, let's say if they ate 50%, you're still paying them $10 million. You're losing. You're saving what, $3 million by trading Cease?
Yeah,
he's got $78 4 year, $78 million deal.
He's got 20 left for this year. That's it. But
that's the last. This is the last year of his deal.
This is the last year of his deal. Okay. But I'd rather see Tirso Ornelas in left field.
I mean, he's gonna be 0 WAR
than a 0 WAR expensive Starling Marte.
Big
now,
name.
3 years ago, he had a 3.8 WAR. I don't know. You think
3 years ago,
2022, he was a 3.8 WAR player. Is there anything left in the tank for Starling Marte? It's a contract
maybe
year.
On the Nelson Cruz deal, the $1 million.
He's 36. I mean, it just to me.
I will.
What's the value there? That's not even an offer.
No.
I mean, unless the prospect we're talking about, I assumed that they meant top 10 to 15, like in the Mets system. Better be like a top 10 to 15 prospect in all of baseball. If you're thinking Starling Marte is the return here. I mean, that's the kind.
Is this like? What's the guy's name? Mark.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, it's
on the
just
part of like a Mets fan, I think.
Yeah, these proposed trades are going to be the death of me. At some point, they're going to be the death of me. I think it's what will put me over the edge. But,
I mean, the Padres literally are getting nothing out of that. They're
Nothing.
getting a player who probably doesn't improve you on the field. They're not saving any money. And what? Getting a prospect? It's a horrible trade offer, in my opinion. That would be a horrible trade offer.
Yeah, like Diesel said. Just keep Thief and let's ride. GD, we can't afford to give up starting pitching with Musgrove on the IL. Dylan Thief. Dylan Thief. Dylan Thief. That's how I said it, right? Oh, it's a long week. Dylan Thief. Dylan Thief.
Spinal.
Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the level of offers that AJ is getting, then it doesn't happen anytime soon.
We absolutely ride with Michael King and Dylan Thief. You want to entertain any of these?
No, I don't really want to entertain any of the offers. Dylan Cease, by the way, will be on this radio station on Saturday. He's scheduled to appear with Gwen and Chris from FanFest in the 2 to 4 time slot. So, Padres are going ahead. They have a Dylan Cease bobblehead. Dylan Cease is going to be featured at FanFest. At the moment, it appears the Padres are plowing forward with the thought that Dylan Cease is a member of the Padres in 2025. Could that change? Absolutely.
I'm absolutely fine with it.
Could change at any moment. But it doesn't sound like AJ has said to anyone, oh, yeah, we're almost certainly trading Dylan Cease. If AJ, they have meetings, I guarantee you that, operations talks to promotions in the front office about things. And if AJ said one way or another, we're going to have to trade Dylan Cease, they're not setting up all these things for Dylan Cease. There's a good chance that Dylan Cease remains a Padre this season.
There's also a chance that he gets moved at the deadline. You just never know, depending on what the team is doing. Are they hanging around? The thing is, these days, it's really hard to find sellers at the deadline. I mean, there's like a couple of obvious ones, and then there are those teams that are just so on the bubble. It's a lot like the NCAA tournament, right? Like, they're bubble teams. Like, you saw last year, teams like the Pirates, all kinds of teams. Like, technically, we're 4.5, 5 games out.
Extended playoff.
Extended
format.
playoffs really changes it. It's not like the old days where it's like, oh, we're 6 games out. I'll trade you my frontline starter who's on an expiring deal for 4 prospects and let's ride. It's just harder. It's just harder to do.
Like a week or two ago, I would have said, I think it's like a 60 to 65% chance that Dylan Cease gets traded. If these are the kind of offers, I'm down to more like 30 to 40%.
I was going to say 20%. Yeah,
because traded.
That you can't take on some expiring salary for Dylan Cease's fairly reasonable number. No. And the innings that he provides, they're just. You can't put a price on.
What do the Padres need? They need someone who's going to produce in left field. It doesn't have to be an all-star, but if you can get a guy who's a 2-WAR player, that's an upgrade.
Yeah.
You need
an upgrade from what you have now.
You need depth in your pitching staff, especially if you're giving up Cease, and you need some salary flexibility to maybe acquire 1 or 2 more players. Those are the things they are looking for in a Dylan Cease trade. Maybe a prospect. That offer doesn't satisfy any of those things. No payroll flexibility, no upgrade really in the outfield. No pitching. And no pitching is, unless this prospect is like knocking on the door and going to join the rotation, whoever this mystery prospect would be.
Yeah, it's a pass.
This doesn't satisfy any of the needs of the Padres. You don't trade guys without getting something in return.
Yeah, then the Michael King was that Michael King to the Mets? There was Michael King to the Mets as well.
There was also the same report said they've talked about both. It said that the asking price for Cease is higher than the asking price for Michael King, which I'm not shocked by. Dylan Cease, again, we talked about it yesterday, is the more proven commodity as a starting pitcher. He's the bigger name, but he's also a little more expensive. Cease is making 14. King's going to be at 7 or 8, somewhere in that range. So he's a little more expensive. That usually lowers the price tags on trades a little bit. And on trajectory, Cease has been pretty consistent.
Yeah.
King is perhaps still on an upward trajectory, which I would think would intrigue people. That, hey, we're getting Michael King, but what if we're getting Michael King and he's even better than he was last year?
I think he can be better than he was last year. I mean, what he was able to do at the end of the season was just that start against the Dodgers was art.
I tend to think so as well. And I think Dylan Cease, you're just hoping he's as good as he's been over the last couple of years, which is great. 180-plus innings, 200-plus strikeouts.
The 5th best pitcher in baseball.
No-hitter stuff when he's on. And when he's not on, it's okay. It's not great, but that's Dylan Cease. Michael King, to me, if I had to pick, like, who's the more likely player to win a Cy Young this year, Michael King or Dylan Cease? Dylan Cease finished 4th in the Cy Young voting last year. I think Michael King was 8th. I'd reverse it this year.
Yeah,
I think Michael King has a better chance of winning a Cy Young award in 2025 than Dylan Cease. That's just my
gut feeling.
This is my gut feeling. Yeah.
I don't want to trade either of them, man. I really don't. If you're going to look to get some salary relief and pick up a prospect, you can probably part with your closer in Robert Suarez, and it would be tough to do. But you do feel like it's the one area that you have some depth in, and it's that one area where you see it like there has been some change to the closer's role, where maybe your closer, the guy now comes in the 8th inning or the 7th inning or whatever, like. They have some flexibility there. Not a ton, but some flexibility.
If we were going to see some movement on Robert Suarez, I would think it could happen soon. And I'll tell you why right after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
For the most part, folks are doing a pretty good job of staying out of trouble. Southbound side of the 5, right around Main and Division, we have reports of some sort of debris in the right lane. Also, on the Arrow Drive off-ramp, northbound 15, stalled vehicle over the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So we have seen a flurry of activity in the last 24 to 48 hours in Major League Baseball, all centered around relief pitching.
Yep.
And when moves start being made, it puts a lot of pressure on other teams because options start disappearing, and it spurs guys to maybe increase a free agent offer or increase a trade offer if they're looking for help. In the last 48 hours, here's some of the moves we've said. The Mets signed Ryan Stanek to a 1-year deal. Tigers signed Tommy Kahnle to a 1-year deal. The Royals signed Carlos Estevez to a 2-year, $22.2 million deal. He was the best reliever left on the free agent market. And the Reds traded for former Padre Taylor Rogers from the Giants for a minor league pitcher, Braxton Roxby. That's kind of a payroll slashing move for the Giants. Everyone going, hey, look at the Giants. They're going and getting, Willie Adames. Now they're slashing some payroll. Taylor Rogers was really good for the Giants last year, but they didn't want to pay him the, 12 or whatever he's got on his contract this year, and the Reds are trying to bulk up, so they're taking on Taylor Rogers. But the Giants, I don't know if they're going to use that money elsewhere or it's just to pay for some of their other salary increases this offseason.
And Buster Posey came out yesterday and said they're not. I mean, it doesn't sound like they're going to reinvest that money that they saved on Taylor Rogers, and they kind of appear to be done making moves now. Saw a couple of Giants fans I followed yesterday that were a bit up in arms about that. And it's a weird offseason for them, right? Just you lose Blake Snell and you go get Willie Adames, who's a good player, but what are we talking here as far as game-changing type moves? They seem to be looking to add on the fringes as well. The Diamondbacks have made a really strong move in Corbin Burns, but he's going to throw every 5th day. And so the only team in the West who really, really ratchet it up is the LA Dodgers, and they're leading baseball as far as ratcheting it up right now.
Yeah,
so.
I think the Diamondbacks are better, but they lost Christian Walker, and they picked up Josh Naylor. I do think
hardly know her.
I do think it'll be tough. The Diamondbacks' offense was just shockingly good last year.
Yep.
Can they keep that up?
And that's with Corbin Carroll having a turd season.
I mean, that's
most
true.
Of the year.
That's true. But Marte had a pretty good year again.
Yep.
He's really good. I mean, can they stay at that level? Are they really the best offensive team in baseball? I look at their lineup. It's good. I don't necessarily see, that's clearly the best offensive team in baseball. They might take a step back this year, on the fringes at least, on their offense. Now, they have better pitching with Burns. It's a deep staff. I think they're better, but I think there are also some concerns still if you're the Diamondbacks. The only team without concerns right now, who's the only team without concerns at the moment.
Every other team, 29 other teams in baseball.
So, Paulie got some, just to the audio, we just mentioned the John Morosi Cubs' interest in, was it Dylan Cease or Michael Cease? Cease. All right, so we have actually some audio from MLB Network of him talking about it.
Yes, for the Padres, they're bumping up against much more of a payroll restriction now than they had a year ago, which is the impetus to at least gauge the interest in both Dylan Cease and Michael King as a way to bring back some younger, less expensive talent and also potentially create payroll flexibility to add free agents who might have their price tags dropping in the last days of the offseason. What I was told yesterday from sources is that one team to watch and the potential of moving Dylan Cease. And again, Dylan Cease is more likely to move than King because Cease makes more money, and therefore he would bring more payroll flexibility if they move him. So Cease is the more likely one to move. And one of the teams to watch, the Chicago Cubs. Ooh. Why the Cubs? Well, here's why. They've got 7 of the top 100 prospects, according to MLBpipeline.com. And also, Robert and Harold, look at that column on the far right side. Estimated time of arrival to the major leagues, 2025.
They're ready.
For 6 of the 7. So they are ready, Robert. Exactly right. So pay, I think, extra close attention here. The Padres right now, they do not know who's going to start in left field because, of course, Profar is left to sign with the Braves. For that reason, it'd be tough, I think, to justify a one-year deal like Cease. Of course, he's a free agent after 25, to give up someone of Owen Casey's ability, but that's exactly the kind of player who could make trading Dylan Cease worth the while of the Padres, because Owen Casey, if he's in this trade, he goes right into a corner outfield spot in San Diego.
Well, former San Diego Padre Owen Casey.
Cassie, right?
Caissie.
Owen
Yeah,
Casey.
drafted by the Padres second round.
He was in the Yu Darvish deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't blow my hair back, but
That
hey,
sounds a hell of a lot better than Starling Marte and one prospect.
you have 7 in the top 100. Great, I'll take 4 of them for Dylan Cease. Let's ride. Yeah, no, I mean it's got to be a fleece. They're going for it. You know, the Cubs are they have some rentals in Kyle Tucker. They're going for it right now. Like, so, yeah, maybe you could get them to overpay a little bit, but still doesn't. Owen Casey does nothing to replace 180 innings from Dylan Cease.
No,
nothing at all.
You know, and it's intriguing. Cease going back to Chicago, but you know, North Side instead of the South Side would be a weird.
Casey, I mean, he's had a couple of really good years.
He's risen quite quickly.
22
for
bombs
the Cubs,
in AA, 19 bombs at AAA. Okay, like we got to have somebody in the rotation as well. But yeah, it'd be tough to lose Dylan.
Yeah, Keith Law came out with his organizational rankings. Cubs rank really high. They're 6th in baseball in terms of their minor league system. It's the Mariners are 1, Red Sox 2, Dodgers 3. Bottom of the rankings, you've got the Angels at 30, Astros, Braves, Athletics, Giants, and Padres at 25. Right.
Who are the teams below us?
A's, Braves, Astros, and Angels, and Giants.
Okay.
But you know, we knew that. You know, there's some internal excitement about some guys, but it hasn't filtered around to the prospect rankers. They see Salas and DeVries, and they say a lot of question marks below that. So you're not going to get very highly ranked in any of these organizational rankings.
I just wonder if they'll do something, something major, big trade like that is. I don't know how to feel. I'll have to see the return.
Final Hour Ben and Woods is coming up. We have a special guest joining us in our 9 o'clock hour. We'll tell you who it is when we come back, and have our biggest fan name announced as well. All coming up on 97.3 The Fan. Don't go away. All right, final hour of Ben and Woods, and coming up in about 20 minutes from now, we have a special guest. One of our favorite sports figures in San Diego from one of our favorite teams, and his last name is Merrill.
Had a good year last year.
He had a good year last year. He's had a good couple of years. We're very excited
Talk
to have
just Merrill.
Patrick Merrill is going to be joining us from the San Diego
Jackson
Seals.
Now you've just kind of crapped on Patrick
No,
Merrill
I
by
haven't.
comparing
I said
him
he's one
to...
of our favorite. He is one of our favorite sports figures in San Diego.
But he's not Jackson
we
Merrill.
were talking about.
Yeah, I did not lie. I did not. I wasn't trying to mislead anyone.
Sounds misleading.
Patrick Merrill. Jackson is going to be on with Annie Nelson, I believe
so.
from FanFest. So you will hear from Jackson on this radio station. You will
It's
also
all
hear.
Tentative planned for Saturday.
Yeah.
You remember how insane it at least was a
Right.
couple of years ago. Scheduling could change and all of that, but that is the plan. I think you'll hear Jake Cronenworth, Mike Schilt, Trevor Hoffman, Jackson Merrill, Dylan Cease, and Joe Musgrove are scheduled for Saturday's broadcasts.
Okay.
But you'll hear from Patrick Merrill of the Seals. You have a game tomorrow night or
Saturday?
Saturday night.
Yeah.
Saturday night at
Yeah.
Pechanga Arena.
2-hour broadcast
Fun day.
at FanFest.
It's been a while. This is just kind of a reminder that the Seals are back in town.
Yeah,
right?
they've been on the road.
and
Yeah.
had a week off, I think. So it's been a while since they've played, and they need a win.
They do badly.
Pretty badly, don't they?
It's been a weird year.
Speaking of wins, it is your chance out there, Tier 1s, to win right now in our biggest fan contest. About to announce the name. You'll have 10 minutes to call us back and qualify for our grand prize drawing, the 20 tickets for you and your friends and a night in the Odyssey Suite at a Padres game later this season. Today's biggest fan, at least at 9 a.m., is Edgar Flores from Chula Vista. Edgar, you are on the clock right now, so you get 10 minutes to call us at 833-288-0973. Play that for the entire 10 minutes, Paul. It'll be great. Don't forget, remember, register your name at 973thefansd.com/biggest-fan, and then you'll have a chance to hear your name called at 9, 1, or 5:30, just like Edgar Flores from Chula Vista just had his name called. I want to give you some credit.
Oh, me?
Yeah. So remember yesterday when we were talking about golf, and you said they should just let the guys use rangefinders to speed things up. You don't need caddies stepping off the yardage. Pace of play been a big issue. Guess what they just announced yesterday at the Pebble Beach tournament, which begins this morning. In fact, I think it's just underway now. PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan unveiled, and there'll be more details coming out, but their new pace of play initiative, which includes perhaps testing starting to allow rangefinders and maybe even a shot clock in golf.
I talked to Jay.
Did you? I was going to say
you
you seem to be well connected with the world of the PGA Tour and possible rule changes.
He concurs that there's an issue, and we had a long, passionate discussion about it, Jay Monahan and I, and he's agreed to at least explore the options of doing that. So I do feel a bit like a tastemaker right now.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Every sport, though, is exploring ways to shorten their sport.
I wonder why.
Baseball did it, and successfully, by the way. Golf is looking at it. You've had other
the NBA.
So yeah, Adam Silver yesterday said he thinks that it's a good idea to maybe shorten games to 40 minutes, go from 12-minute quarters to 10-minute quarters instead of what they've always had, the 48-minute games, and shorten things up. Now NBA games only average 2 hours and 16 minutes, which is doesn't seem insanely long.
It's actually fairly perfect for a sporting event.
But every
His
other
logic, he wants to get it a little bit closer to
2 hours.
Yeah, a 2 hour broadcast window, essentially. It's also the fact that every other basketball, basically a league on earth, college basketball, international basketball,
FIBA,
Olympic basketball, they all play 10-minute quarters. It's only the NBA that plays 12-minute quarters.
You should do it like Bo's team and do 8-minute quarters. Those games fly by.
That's high school basketball for you. But
is that 8?
Yeah. But 10-minute quarters, obviously there'd be some, side consequences, like scoring records.
Correct.
No.
Or pretty much, you take 8 minutes off of the game, that's pretty much it for your scoring records. No one's ever going to break, the 60, 70-point barrier again. So season-long records, things like that would be completely – you'd have a new era of records. So the 40-minute game versus the 48-minute game. You'd also have a bunch of, role players like the 8th and 9th and 10th players on the bench who are like, hey, I'm a valuable contributor to this team. You pay me $9 million to come in and play, 12 minutes a game as the 9th player off the bench. You don't need those guys as much anymore because your starters will be playing a bigger chunk of the game in a 40-minute game. So you'll have some of these secondary role players are going, whoa, you can't be those are my 8 minutes that you're taking away from me. This is why I'm getting paid, essentially, is to be depth, and give the starters a few minutes off here or there. And if they need less time off, what need is there for me, the 8th guy coming up off the bench?
I wonder, too, if it has to do with the rash of injuries / load management that goes on in the NBA as well. I just saw that graphic that I couldn't believe. Joel Embiid has played 862 games in the NBA, but he's only played 462 of them. He has sat for 400 games, which there are 82 games in an NBA season. He has sat the bench for 5 years and has made in that time $126 million.
That includes legitimately times he was out with injuries. It's
absolutely.
Not all load management, but yeah.
Right, yeah, exactly. But that is bananas. Bananas. We have 52 weeks in a year. What if we only did shows for 25 of those weeks? I don't think it would fly with management here. 25 weeks is what you can count on us for this year. It's not going to fly in really any other gig. Which is crazy. But again, you shorten the games. You maybe preserve the health of some guys too a little bit. Could be an unintended consequence or maybe an intended consequence.
I mean, shortening the season would be a great way of, saving guys' legs. Don't have back-to-back games where you play one night and then the next night.
We going to get down to 7-inning baseball games at some point?
Well, I mean, even during the pandemic, we saw a little bit of that as well.
Yep. For the doubleheaders?
Yeah, for the doubleheaders. So, I mean, my guess is it'll be discussed. With the trend of sports is less.
Yeah, let's just do 15-minute games.
People like, their YouTube chunks, their 5-minute YouTube clips, and less people.
Yeah, we're still doing a 4-hour show here. Adam,
the man responsible is standing right behind you.
He is grimacing at you behind you.
All the leagues are. Did you hear this? All the sports leagues are trying to speed things along,
shortening
things.
Shorter but better is what their
thoughts.
The trend is in sports.
Shorter but better. We could.
Shorten your salary too.
What?
Shorten your salary. He said.
It's up for discussion. I would discuss that with you. To do a 3-hour show. Drew says I want 4-hour baseball games. You say that until there's until there's 37 of them in a row. I think you get fatigued.
What sport feels? I like football games are pretty much 3 hours consistently.
Yeah. College football feels longer.
A little bit longer now. They've stopped.
Dude, football's
stopping.
I mean, when they have the 3 games, like the morning, afternoon, and the primetime late night game, they just roll right one into the next.
Yeah.
There is no overlap.
No.
There's really no hour and a half long gap in between the games. They've got it down to a
Yeah,
science.
I do. I get annoyed when you have the touchdown, long commercial break, kickoff, long commercial break, and then here's the first quarter's done after 2 plays, long commercial break.
Yeah.
There are spots where football gets bogged down as well, where they could speed things up a little bit. But the timing of football seems to work. I mean, it's on the weekends generally. These other sports, these are weeknight games. There's a difference between a weeknight baseball game, going 4 hours, and a football game, a college or football game. You're going out on a Saturday. You don't mind if it ends up stretching to 3.5 hours on a Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. But when you're going to a baseball game on Wednesday night and it stretches to 4 hours, that is a bit, onerous for fans.
Yeah, if your old pal Woods goes to a baseball game on a Wednesday night, I'm leaving after 2 hours. Just so you know, I'm not staying for the whole 4 hours. It's just no way. It's too much.
But it clearly is a multi-sport trend that just about every sport is looking for ways to speed things up a little bit to capture a less patient audience.
I'm with them. I would like to speed this up to 3 hours.
We always, as older fans, which is now what we're in that demographic of older fans, we always say, yeah, these kids today don't have the patience to sit down.
I don't either.
Doesn't necessarily mean that they're wrong. You know, maybe we're the ones that we're too patient with our sports sometimes. Like, we should demand a little more action and activity. Kids won't watch.
Yeah, they just tune out.
If it's too slow and it's too boring, they just won't watch. And, you know, that's why golf has a serious problem. Not the popularity of golf is playing the sport is as popular as it's ever been. So why is watching the sport ratings going down across the board? Because people, like younger people who are getting into the game, got into the game during the pandemic, they like watching the YouTube videos. You know, Bryson DeChambeau and Barstool, and you know these chunks of 5 to 10 minute videos. They can't imagine sitting down for 4 hours and watching an entire golf round of the U.S. Open or the Masters. It's just not going to do it.
Well, it's star power too. It's just there's a lack of stars in PGA right now.
Well, not this week. This week they got all the stars at Pebble Beach. Scotty Scheffler's back from his hand injury. He sliced himself. What did he do? He was making
dinner.
Hurt
himself.
Jordan Spieth's back for the first time since August. They got a really good field.
Yep, Rory.
We'll see what ratings look like from Pebble Beach this weekend, and if people tune back into. But you still don't have all the live players and everything. That's always going to be a problem until they figure that out. So,
well, one thing, Ben, that is sweeping the nation is daily fantasy. That's something that you can do, and it kind of makes the games a lot more exciting to watch if you're a California sports fan. Good news, Underdog available to play in your state. Best app for your big game party is actually, it's not on the table. It's on your phone. It's called Underdog, the best place to cash in on all your takes during the big game. Which players are going to go off, which ones are ice cold. Make your entries in just a few taps. With their pick'em game, you could win up to 1,000 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on player stats like yards, touchdowns, interceptions, and more. Got all your favorite leagues. If you wanted to go in and do some higher or lower on golf at Pebble Beach, you could absolutely do that. Cook up some entries for a shot to win real cash prizes while you watch the big game. Love hearing from you tier ones that have signed up with Underdog. It's incredible. I've had so much fun with it. And yeah, there's that thrill of getting like your first 4 correct, waiting for the last 2. With their double flex option, you could even take 2 L's, turn it into a win, having a blast with Underdog, as I've told you guys. There's a lot to go in there and poke around, so have some fun with it. That's what it's supposed to be. Underdog, the best place to play pick'em. Download the app, sign up with the promo code WOODS. Deposit now to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly. Use the promo code WOODS when you sign up at Underdog. Must be 18 and over, present in the state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
Woods, let me hear you say Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get some practice in.
Saskatchewan.
For your Seals game coming up Saturday night at Pechanga Arena. The Seals returning home to take on the
Saskatchewan
Rush at 7 p.m. It is Mexican Heritage Night at Pechanga Arena as well.
You should come out and roll your R's.
I can't roll
for
my R's.
everyone.
Patati, patati, patati. I've
Still
been practicing
for 3 years.
Still can't quite nail it.
Yep.
But we got a special guest on the line right now.
Yes, we do. He is the head coach, general manager of our beloved San Diego Seals, Patrick Merrill. Patty, how are you, buddy?
What's up, fellas? I'm doing well, thanks.
Good
How
to
you
talk
guys?
to you. Man, I feel like I haven't seen you in forever because I haven't seen you in forever. You guys been on the road, on a bye. How's the team doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's we're doing okay. We're doing okay. We kind of had a rough road trip where we kind of let a couple games slip away from us, but we're looking forward to getting back home here, and we love our group, and this is a big one for us here this weekend on Saturday night. So all of our focus is on that.
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, they're a good team. Saskatchewan 5-2. You got our old goalie, Frank the Tank Chiliano. You guys may remember. He's coming back. He's having a great year. You know he wants to beat the Seals. But I got to tell you, man, I've been with the team since it started. I've had so much fun watching this team. Patrick, the record doesn't really dictate, in my opinion, how good this team has looked at times. 3-4, some really, really close losses, which is kind of the nature of the game. But it's been a fun year. They're a fun group to watch. They're more athletic. They seem to be playing much tougher. In your opinion, why is the record what it is right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just kind of trying to find, the best version of ourselves or the best iteration of our team. We've got a lot of new guys, and as you mentioned, it's an amazing group. And our goal was to be a little bit more athletic and get some younger legs in the lineup. And I think the guys really, really care, and we think we have the makings of a top team in this league.
Yeah.
But we haven't kind of found the best version of ourselves yet, right? But we're hoping that that's all going to start to come together for us, starting this weekend.
So you'd be surprised, but occasionally on this show, especially recently, we've had a few discussions about owners who really want to win and have the financial wherewithal to do so. And certainly, from everything that I've heard from about Joe Ty, he wants to win a lacrosse championship for San Diego, and he has the financial wherewithal to do so. What are your interactions with Joe like? What kind of an owner is he, and what kind of expectations do you get from him at the start of the season?
Yeah, I mean, Joe is an amazing person, first and foremost. He treats all of his players. We had the experience of being at his kind of birthday party a couple weekends ago, and just the support that we get from him and his family is kind of second to none. You want to run through a wall for the guy just because of how well he treats us. I think there's no owner in sports that deserves a winner more than him, in my opinion. And so I know it's a source of motivation for me, but also for every single guy that sits in that locker room week in, week out. To try and bring a championship not only to Joe but to the city of San Diego that both deserve it so much.
Yeah, we need it pretty badly here, and I mean I want one so bad. I love the game. It's funny too, talking to Seals head coach Patrick Merrill a couple weeks ago. There was a tilt on the carpet. I can't even remember the teams, but it made national news, and people were like, "Oh my God, they fight in lacrosse? They play this hard?" And I actually, for a moment, I was like, "Oh, this is kind of cool. The NLL's having a moment." And then I thought to myself, they do this all the time, but like Pat McAfee picks up on it, and more eyes are now on the NLL. Would love to get as many eyes as we can out to Pechanga Arena, but like as far as the league goes, it's constantly exciting. Patty, did you see that punch that was delivered, and what were your reactions to it?
Yeah, I definitely saw it. I think my reaction was very similar to yours. Where I think we're kind of the best kept kind of secret still.
Yes.
I think our league in terms of entertainment value and how hard these guys compete. And again, that's really authentic stuff, right? Like that's two guys going at it.
Yeah.
In a packed house in Buffalo, in front of some rabid fans, and just kind of trying to get the upper hand on each other, right? But as you know, Woodsy, we see that every weekend, right?
Every weekend. I'm in the box, so I hear these dudes, one of our guys and one of their guys, they're screaming at each other back and forth between me, and I'm in the middle, and I'm like, this is why I love this. I love this. These guys care so much. And they're such artists down on the carpet. It truly is amazing. I love to see big moments like that for the league. But, I've been telling everyone for 6 years, you get that all the time. And with this new iteration of the San Diego Seals, I feel like we're seeing, like I mentioned, I think we're a tougher team this year.
Yeah, I mean, again, you have to be a tough team. You have to be. The margin of error is so slim in our league. Especially with the amount of parity that exists today across the league, and so that was intentional. You have to. It's a tough game, so you have to have a tough group, right? That's willing to lay it on the line literally every shift, not to sound cliche, but you have to earn every inch out there on the field. And again, I think we're built to do that. And we've demonstrated that at, many times over the course of the season so far, but I think there's still more room for growth within our team. But I can never fault them for their effort, because and especially at home, we feed off you, Woodsy, and we feed off that crowd, even more so every weekend. And so I think that's why you see the guys play so hard.
Patrick, good luck on Saturday night. Who knows? We saw some of the Padres players at the Aztecs game on Wednesday.
Would love to have them.
Club 44 or Camp 44. Maybe they'll be at the Seals game on Saturday night, and see if you can pull out a win and start a little winning streak here.
Yeah, there's a Merrill too on the Padres.
There sure is. There sure is. Any relation to Jackson Merrill?
I wish.
Yeah,
I wish.
that's fair.
No, but
Me too.
He's always welcome at Pechanga.
Awesome, man. Thanks, Patty. We'll see you Saturday. I'll be bringing the heat.
You always do, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Thanks,
Thanks,
man.
guys. Appreciate your time.
Patrick Merrill, head coach, general manager of the San Diego Seals. You can get your tickets at sealslax.com. Rod, who was one of our tier ones at our Christmas and holiday extravaganza, said, thanks for the Seals tickets. We had Seals tickets in our gift bags. He said, I had a blast. Didn't know lacrosse would be so entertaining.
It's common sentiment.
Yeah, we went to a game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was the last home game. It's just a lot of fun. It's a fun night.
It's a blast.
Jim in
the chat says, LOL lacrosse. And I said, Jim, your tickets are on me. Your first ones. You want to come? I've done this.
Don't knock it
till you try it.
Till you try it.
That's exactly right.
I know what that means. Does everybody else know what that means? I'll just give you a second to react to what that means. Saw the headline yesterday, and normally I would just let this slip right past me, Woods, but Bill Belichick was on the Let's Go podcast, and he said they should really rename the Lombardi Trophy, the Super Bowl winning Vince Lombardi Trophy. And he said, how about the Brady Trophy? He won 7 titles.
How many did Lombardi win?
He won the first 2.
Won the first 2. But Bill Belichick's point,
I think he elaborated, right?
as it often is coaches don't win anything. Players win things. Yeah. So why would you name a trophy that players win after a coach? It should be named after a player, and no player has won more than Tom Brady. And I thought it was a very, actually kind of magnanimous gesture.
Very much so.
With Bill Belichick, a lot of the narrative is, was it really Tom Brady or was it Bill Belichick?
Yeah.
He went down 1-1 with Tampa Bay. Maybe it was more Brady than Belichick. And Belichick could be overly sensitive and go, I want just as much credit, as Tom Brady. But he goes, I thought this was an actually pretty good point that he makes. Like, you should name the trophy after a player, not a coach. I mean, the National League Reliever of the Year award is the Trevor Hoffman Award. The American League Reliever of the Year is the Mariano Rivera Award. That makes more sense, maybe, than calling it. It's just history now and tradition. It's the Lombardi Trophy.
Sure.
But he actually made a pretty decent point.
I mean, in 50 years, maybe they do it. You know?
Well, I mean, if you do it too fast, it might need to be the Mahomes Trophy.
Fair enough.
The pace that he's on.
Brady gets it for like 4 years, and they're like, actually, sorry, buddy.
So they need to be careful about renaming it right now.
Lombardi won 5 in his
overall
long storied career.
Well, Tom has more.
Yeah, it's true.
And
So does Bill.
Patrick may have more than all of them when it's all said and done.
You're still betting the Eagles?
All right, I see people calling in. Yeah, that was the sounder for winning the Aztecs tickets on Saturday night against Wyoming. My stomach noise. People are calling in to win. You can get your tickets for Saturday night's game. 5 p.m. start at Viejas Arena at goaztecs.com. Paulie's got a Reindl Report. Some of the headlines we have not gotten to yet in our final segment. Stick around for more of that.
There's a banger in there, I'll tell you that now.
There's quite a few.
First, Woodsy and I want to tell you about trust and will. It is so important. It is something that is very easy to just out of sight, out of mind. I don't want to think about what might happen if I'm gone. Hey, I'm gone. I don't want to even talk about it. But it is so easy to take care of. There's peace of mind for you, and mostly, protect your family and make sure your wishes are known. And save them with a lot of hassle and grief if something did unexpectedly happen to you and you passed away.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't even the fact that, I don't want to think about this. It was the fact that I was just lazy and didn't think that I would need it. But I found out I absolutely do. And, make sure you set up a trust if you want to keep your family out of probate. It's lengthy. It's costly. Even with a will, probate is unavoidable. So make sure that you get a trust.
Probation, it's probate. It just sounds bad.
Yeah, I would know. Only a trust can help you bypass that entirely. So all you have to do, if you're listening right now, you just want to take care of this business. That's what it's all about. You just knock it out, and then you're done. It takes 20 minutes. Secure your assets, protect your loved ones with Trust and Will. Get 10% off plus free shipping of your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com. Use the code San Diego, one word, San Diego, at checkout.
And if you've got specific bequeaths, you can actually put those down as well, like special items that you want to leave for people.
I want to bequeath you to mow my lawn once a week.
The reading of the will.
The reading of the will.
If that's what I'm getting, I may miss the reading of the will.
That's right.
All right, we'll come back with our Reindl Report next here. Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan. All right, congratulations to Trevor. Just won our Aztecs tickets. Was listening for that sounder, my stomach noise. 3 years ago tomorrow. Stomach noise Ben. Speaking of contests, don't forget you can download the Odyssey app and listen to 97.3 The Fan on the app for your chance at the ultimate trip in the Slam Dunk in Las Vegas contest. All you have to do is download the Odyssey app, log in, and listen to our station for 1 hour and get a daily entry into a national contest. Grand prize is travel and accommodations for a winner and 3 guests to Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas's premium sports viewing destination, where you can watch the biggest March Hoops party at Stadium Swim, plus $20,000 cash. I think you can do whatever you want with the $20,000. So you just have to listen on the app for an hour a day to qualify.
Easy.
We're going to get to our Reindl Report. Obviously, it's headlines and stuff we haven't gotten to. One thing we have not mentioned, obviously, is the tragedy in Washington, D.C. A lot of coverage last night and this morning of the plane crash.
Awful.
There's really no good news. No survivors reported in the crash. 60 passengers, 4 crew members as a plane landing in Washington collided with a Black Hawk helicopter. It does report in this morning that about, I think, 14 of the people on the plane were linked to the sport of figure skating. Some American skaters, some Russian skaters who were there at a at a camp or some sort of session and were returning to Washington, D.C. from Wichita. So just an awful, sad story. I did see, this is the first commercial plane crash in the United States since 2009. 16 years.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, air travel is actually remarkably safe, which is amazing considering. You all think it. Like every time you get into a plane, how does this stay in the air?
Every time.
How does this work? I have still no idea.
Nope.
Not new technology, but I am always amazed by it.
It don't make sense to me.
No,
it doesn't.
I don't like to think about it, actually.
Just like cargo ships, like
correct.
boats.
How are you
Doesn't make
floating?
sense to me.
Nope. Don't get it. Cruise ships. How
you
do
can
you
sit
do
there
it?
and explain it to me for hours.
Because I get sink to the bottom, but
I
this
just
giant
nod.
heavy ship doesn't. How does that work?
Right.
But obviously, thoughts and prayers going out to. Just think you're just going about your business and you're traveling,
Terrible,
and all of a
man.
sudden it's just a nightmare for anybody's worst
I
nightmare.
saw the most heartbreaking video this morning.
The
was
guy.
being interviewed
Yeah,
on the news.
maybe don't interview that guy.
Yeah, he's like, the last text I got from my wife said landing in 20.
Right.
And,
And then he said, I
still
hope
just waiting.
I hope right now somebody is pulling her out of the river. I'm like, all right, well, that's enough TV and internet for me today. But just a terrible tragedy. Terrible.
All right, so obviously we know what's going on, and I know people are seeing that. So
thanks for lightening the
just
mood.
brought it up. All right, we'll check traffic, and then Paulie will get to some other stories with our Reindl Reports.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Guys, just one problem wrapping up our morning drive. We got this crash, Balboa Park, southbound side of the 163 past Robinson. A couple of vehicles involved in this one. It's over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul. All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right. Happy Thursday, gentlemen.
Happy Husband Day.
I was just gonna say we'll start right there. It's
Happy
not one of my
Husband
stories,
Day.
but Happy Husband Day. Did not know this was a thing, but it is.
Promise you your wife didn't know it was a thing either.
Well, she does now.
She does now.
Says, though Husband Day is a relatively new addition to the calendars, originating in the early 2000s, it's become a very beloved tradition in many households. It's a perfect day to go that extra mile.
Yeah.
To show your husband how much you love and appreciate him, from his favorite breakfast to his preferred pastime. Seize the day to fill it with his favorites, and of course, lots of love.
To celebrate Husband Day by planning the perfect surprise. Show him how much he means to you with his favorite activities, food, and lots of love. I look forward to seeing what the old missus has whipped up for me when I get
Find out
home.
in a couple hours.
She's going to throw me, my favorite pastime, probably playing baseball. She's going to throw me soft toss.
Get you some tea work.
Make some steak and just throw me soft toss in the backyard.
Steak and soft toss.
Steak and soft toss sounds like a pretty elite day.
Now, not to be confused with National Husbandry Day, which is something entirely different.
What is husbandry?
Husbandry?
Yeah.
That is the care, cultivation, and breeding of animals.
Yeah, it's
Why
different.
is it so closely named to husband?
I don't know.
Husbandry, though. Are we all animals? Is that basically what it is? Like, you need to take, once you're married, your wife is performing husbandry.
Now, I tweeted
caring and cultivating you.
I tweeted about it and tagged my wife in it, but I don't know. I don't know if she's going to. I don't know how much she celebrates Husband Day. It's like I'm not sure. It would be if we celebrated it would be the first time that we've ever celebrated it. So I'm down to try it, certainly, but just don't know what I'm in store for when I get home.
Keep us updated.
I will.
We'll find out.
You do as well.
All right. We will get started here. How about, Pat Riley? I saw this story yesterday. One of the more savvier guys in sports, because I had no idea about this, but he, back in the late 80s, trademarked the phrase three-peat.
Yep.
With the Lakers. Riles and Company, Inc. They put a trademark for three-peat. The number three-peat, all the variations, of three-peat.
Kind of like the let's.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, you can't say it on the radio, Woods.
I wonder if I'll even get sued for that.
Let's like that.
Let's.
I mean, there's a lot of things that start with let's.
True.
So I think you're okay there.
Let's dance. Yeah.
Now, of course, you don't see a ton of three-peats in sports. You had the Lakers, obviously. You had the Yankees.
Oh, did you just say three-peat? I think you
I
just
owe him
got
money.
fined.
I owe him money.
No, you just can't use
You
it like
can
in
use
an
it.
advertisement or promotion.
Okay.
Without paying Pat Riley.
So it says here, just because he has all of these trademarks, if the Chiefs were to win Super Bowl 59, get the three-peat, they can still use it on phrasing and merchandise, promotion, and all that. But they, or the NFL, would be required to pay royalties to Riles and Company, Inc.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, we're
really one of the smartest, savviest moves.
Genius.
It really is brilliant.
I just can't believe no one had thought of it before that.
I know.
Yeah, it took until, I think you said, 1989.
Well, we're staring down the barrel of one, so he's ready to cash in if need be.
When was the last one? Was it the Lakers?
The last
NBA?
major NBA
Well, even the
three-in-a-row
Yankees were-
championship was
He's
the
afraid
was
now.
the Lakers, 2000 to 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, saw that.
J.M.
Man.
Moore says he works in husbandry in a lab. That's cool.
Outstanding.
We have all kinds of listeners.
By the way, just a side note, speaking of trademarks, it's official. Utah Hockey Club got denied, and they wanted to be the Utah Yetis, and that's been
they said
denied because
no.
it's too close to the Coolers. So they can't be the Yetis. So what they're doing instead is hosting an in-arena fan vote, and they're going to pick between three choices. Here are your choices, Woods.
Okay.
You can keep it as Utah Hockey Club forever.
Pass.
You could be the Utah Mammoth.
Okay.
Which there's already a Colorado Mammoth
in the NLL.
In the NLL.
It's not bad. They got a good logo.
And this one's the weird one, is he wasn't even one of the original choices. The Utah Wasatch, which
Nope.
is their mountain range. The Wasatch, I think. That would be confusing to a lot of people.
I mean, out of those three, it's an easy choice. It's Mammoth.
Mammoth.
It's
Utah
Mammoth.
Mammoth.
Yeah.
Mammoth.
Mammoth.
Mammoth?
Thief. The Utah Thief.
The Mammoth.
I like that. That's not bad. But Yetis would have been great.
Yeah. I like Yeti singular.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, wait. Yeti.
What's the plural of Yeti? Is it Yetis?
Yeti.
Yeti. Return of the Yeti.
Yeesh.
All right, and then next story. I saw this going around. I saw this on Instagram yesterday. I didn't know this was even possible in the world of video games. Obviously, you have so many different types of games, like role-playing games, first-person shooter games. You can beat those games, but I didn't know that you could beat sports games like Madden or FIFA or MLB The Show. Like, they just kind of go on forever.
You go on in perpetuity.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
like Woods, he sets as easy as possible and creates a super
No,
team. You
forced
go
trades. That's it.
162-0, and then you win every game in the playoffs. You essentially beat MLB The Show.
Yeah.
My man played MLB The Show
This is amazing.
so long,
Yep.
he says that the game will no longer save stats or awards. and he
filled up the memory card, huh?
Just the game said, like, we can't.
The
go
game said
any
enough.
further.
Enough.
He put some of his accomplishments in this.
I saw this. This is
It's
cool.
unbelievable. See, he was with the Boston Red Sox. And let's see here. He led the Red Sox to 30 World Series rings, 30 pennants,
30 out of 40,
39 MVPs, 39 Cy Young winners, and 11 no-hitters.
Love this guy. Man after my own heart.
He said Jackson Holliday ended up being the greatest player of all time. He finished with 7,500 hits and 17, almost 1,800 home runs.
I think he's got a chance to get into the Hall of Fame with numbers like that.
Pretty good.
He says, I lost the MVP numbers, but he had at least 8 before the show stopped counting. He says, I wheeled the corpse of Bryce Harper out until he was 71 years old.
I love this guy.
Finished with 899 home runs. Rafael Devers played until he was 67. Had to move him from third base at 50 years old.
Yeah, it's time.
All right, let me
Couldn't
ask you
handle
this.
the hot corner. He finished with 7,000 hits and almost 1,600 home runs.
7,000 hits.
What was your most proud video game accomplishment? Like the game you were most excited to finally beat?
I mean, the first time I beat Contra, and I did use the extra men. I did. I never beat it with just the 3. I had to use the up, down, left, right, BA, start. I had to use that to get the extra men. But with the first time I beat it, I was like,
I don't know that there was a better video game feeling for me growing up than finally beating Mike Tyson.
Never did it.
You never beat Mike Tyson?
Never
I
did
beat
it,
him.
dude.
I beat him.
I never did it.
Never did it.
Never. I got to them all the time.
You just had to you had to figure out the pattern
I know,
eventually.
and I couldn't
really
get it. I never beat Mike Tyson. It's one of the things I think about lying in bed at night. That I never did.
Haunts you to this
It
day.
really does. All my friends did. I was like, oh yeah, me too. I never did it.
You could beat Don Flamenco.
Oh yeah.
You could get past
Soda Popinski. Yeah. I beat the crap out of all those guys.
What was the bull? What was the Raging Bull?
Bald Bull.
Bald Bull.
Bald Bull.
Who's the big Hippo? King Hippo.
King Hippo.
King Hippo.
He was easy. Just hit him in the stomach.
Yeah.
He's got the
Who was the
bandage.
weakling that you faced
Joe
first?
Glass.
Yes.
I used to beat the ever-loving pee out of Joe Glass. I mean, I'd let him hang around for a while, and then just take it to him.
Yeah.
No, Glass Joe. Sorry.
Glass Joe.
Glass Joe.
Not Glass Jaw.
Glass Joe.
Bad name for a boxer.
I never did it. Super Mario was fun. After that version of Nintendo came out, I never beat another game again. Ever. Never beat a Sega game. Never beat a PlayStation game.
I think the last one I beat when the kids were, and I still did it when the kids were younger, was Super Mario World.
No, I never beat
that one. Yeah.
I mean, people that buy a game on a Friday and beat it by Sunday, I'm like, oh my god.
Paulie, what was your greatest game beating accomplishment? See, you grew up in an era where games weren't to be beaten; they were just to be
played.
I didn't
played.
I like to play like the sports games that you
you don't beat.
I thought you couldn't beat. I mean, one of the most fun nights I ever had as a kid was I couldn't play the game as a kid. It was Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
My mom said no.
Yeah, I think for good reason.
Probably.
I mean,
I was probably 11, 12 years old when this happened, and I got to spend the night at my cousin's house one night, and we stayed up. We did not go to sleep once. I mean, we stayed up all night.
And you beat it?
Playing. We didn't. I don't even think we beat it, because once you beat it, like, you still get to keep living in that world.
Yeah.
And then we were finding cheat codes for unlimited money.
Sure.
And all the weapons. You know what I mean? Like, we had so much fun with that game.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hardcore game.
Piston Honda.
Piston
about him. Yeah. Von Kaiser.
Yeah.
We were a bit ethnically stereotypical in some of these names.
A little bit.
Yeah.
No, it was like 1985.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
A couple more notes on that MLB The Show thread. This guy said Paul Skeens had major injury issues in his early 50s.
That'll happen. Your body will break down.
He says here, had to pay him $400 million at age 52 just to keep him on board. His 791 wins was second all time, just over 8,000 strikeouts.
Somebody won more than 791 times. Cy Young is 5'11".
Yeah.
That will never be broken. Ever. Never. And nobody will even get 400.
I don't know.
Nobody will get
Maybe
300 again.
Yeah.
Mike Trout retired at the age of 72 in this man's dynasty.
If they
mode.
change the rules and say you don't necessarily have to go 5 innings anymore.
Go 3 innings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Somebody would get 300.
Maybe.
Yeah.
All right, and then finally, got to be very careful with this
one. Okay, dance around
again.
It. Again.
It's kind of what we do here. So there is a senator from the state of Mississippi who is proposing a bill.
Like a state senator?
State senator. He will be proposing a bill that will effectively ban Self-seduction for men?
Onanism. That's the scientific
I've
term
never heard
for
that.
it. You know, never heard of that?
Onanism?
Onanism. Yeah.
Are you an onanist?
I don't know about that.
I know you are. Stroganoff.
It's not uncommon, by the way. Go ahead.
Well,
how do you ban it?
I don't know.
You in there, boy?
He was shocked though that he was receiving so many angry messages from men, including death threats for proposed bill.
Hey man, you ain't taking that away from me. I'll tell you right now. How do you enforce it?
I mean, there's a lot of laws that are
unenforceable,
rarely or almost impossible to enforce.
That's one of them.
Like in recent years, California legalized the use of cannabis. Before that, it had never been used in the state of California.
AKA
cannabis.
Yeah, just remember that moment it was finally legal and everyone was so happy.
It was like, wow, this is such a revelation.
Wow, I feel so good right now.
60s never happened at all.
No. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's called the Contraception Begins at Erection Act.
The floor debate is going to be fascinating on this one.
Need to be a master debater on the floor of that one, for sure.
Who knows? Someday,
Just leave
Woods,
it at that,
California may legalize sports gambling, and you will finally get to
Yes,
learn what it feels like.
I keep hearing about the rush of to
wager on
win a couple $100.
To wager on a sporting event.
I'm still. Why don't we don't worry about what I do when I go home and I have a couple hours to myself. Don't worry about it. It doesn't affect you at all. Not even a little bit.
What you're doing is a crime in Mississippi, or could be.
I guess. Thanks for that, Pauline.
Hey.
I'm sure there's a deeper meaning to it, but I fail to see. I feel if I was a lawmaker, I'd be like, you know what? I'm not gonna work myself up in a lather about this at all. It's a good way to end the program today. For
It
sure.
is.
Yeah. It is National Husband Day. Just remember, ladies or gentlemen, celebrate your husbands.
All right, we still have a minute left, actually. Good, almost timed it out perfectly
Almost.
today. All right, so
It's hard to dance around those stories.
Yeah.
If we're on a podcast, we can have some real fun.
Well,
with it, but
Annie
we're
and
not.
Elston can continue this
Sure,
discussion.
I bet
I'm
they
sure
will.
in their opening segment in just a few minutes. I mean, they'll pick up right where we left off, I'm sure.
Got a member stream tonight. Maybe we can get a little spicy.
Yeah, we can get back into there.
Or we don't have to.
We
Yeah,
can.
we do.
We could.
If you are a Tier 1 Gold member, you can join us tonight at 6:30 for usually around an hour. We
little
do the-
Q&A
our
action.
monthly members only chats.
Always a good time.
Always a good time.
Yep. All right. Have a good rest of your day, gentlemen.
All right. That's it for us.
Made it to the music.
We did. That's all I'm really trying to do is to get to that last 30-second music bed when I can begin my series of thank yous and goodbyes. Usually starts with our executive producer and imaging director, Paul Reindl. Thank you, Paulie. For Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Have a great rest of your Thursday from all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So long, everybody.